A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's go!
Let's go! Firefighters! Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In a moment, we'll join Chief Cody and rookie fireman Tim Collins in the town hall of Plum Valley, where with their host, Editor Tom Culpepper, they're trying to persuade the town council of the desperate need for a proper fire department. But the opposition of Turner Lawson, president of the council, had been so unfair that it angered Tom. And without quite realizing the serious consequences to his cause, he has put the chief and Tim in something of a tight spot. Now, we'll get back to the fight ahead of them right after the following message. Let's go, firefighters! Let's join the excited crowd in Plum Valley's town hall the day after the office and the plant of the Courier, Tom Culpepper's newspaper, had burned to the ground because of a mix-up in which not a single volunteer fireman had appeared. This was the crowning touch in a series of fires that had endangered life and property because the town had neither proper equipment nor trained firefighters. The editor's fighting editorial had gotten people out to the meeting of the town council, but Turner Lawson, the chairman, had quickly brushed Chief Cody's arguments aside when he said,
The chair will entertain a motion to table this useless talk of spending money for firefighting frills we don't need.
I so move! I second the motion!
All those in favor will signify by raising their hand. It is so ordered.
Mr. Lawson, this is a desperate situation, and we're entitled to a full discussion of it.
You're out of order, Editor Culpepper. Now, if the meeting will come to order, I'd like to make a few remarks about the coming election.
Say, Chief Cody, isn't that their fire bell?
I'm afraid it is, Tim.
Hey, Perkins! Your porch is on fire! I can see it from the window here!
Just keep calm, everybody. I see enough of our regular volunteers in the audience to have the blaze out in a jiffy.
Jiffy, from bitter experience, they'll be lucky to get it out at all.
How about that, men? Shall we show Tom Culpepper and his firefighting friends we're quite capable of handling this?
That's a challenge, Lawson, and I accept it.
Take it easy, Tom.
If you want to see what experience and training means, Lawson, I'll pit my friends against raw volunteers any day. Chief Cody and Private Collins can't refuse to fight a fire.
Of course we can't, Tom.
If they don't have that fire out before your men even arrive, I'll eat that editorial I wrote, word for word.
The crowd surges toward the door, the volunteer firemen pushing ahead in their hurry to get to the nearby fire barn and bring their truck into action. Tom beckons his friends to follow him.
Come on, Chief. Down through the basement and out the side door. Cross 1 yard and we'll be at the fire.
We'll do the best we can, Tom, but I can't say I like making a contest out of serious business like this.
Well, if it wasn't serious, I wouldn't be doing this, Chief. All our talk was getting us nowhere.
That Turner Lawson is not only stubborn, he's blind, Tom. Anyone can see this town need equipment.
A lot of those people were probably being convinced. If Tim and I fail now, well, you lose them, Tom.
No, you won't fail. You're going to prove to them that knowledge and training are important.
Well, they say one picture is worth 1,000 words, Chief.
That's it. Let's see what I've been talking about. Quick now, out this door.
Yes, sir. Oh, wait a minute. Look there, Chief. A couple of shovels.
Oh, that's a break. Give me one. Let's get moving.
Yes, sir. What do you want shovels for?
I warned the council about the porch next door with hot ashes in a wooden box. A couple of oil cans near it.
I still don't get it. But you know what you're doing, and it proves my point. What can I do?
You can keep those people back out of the way. If I've got to make a spectacle of myself, all right. That fire's got to be put out, no question about that. I don't want anyone butting in and getting hurt.
How's that burning porch look to you, Chief? Doesn't seem to have gotten too much of a start.
I'll tell you better after I make sure there's no one in that house, Tim.
Yes, sir.
Well, the whole family was at the town meeting. I saw them.
Good. Then let's move in, Tim, and get to work.
Yes, sir. It's our lucky day, Chief Cody. Who'd have guessed the Perkins kid would have a sandbox to play in right next to this fort?
Yes, I saw it when we drove up to the meeting.
Oh, I wish I had your eye for details like that.
You will in time. I thought you knew when you grabbed those shovels in the town hall basement.
No, sir. But I figured if there was oil mixed up in this fire, we'd have to do some digging somewhere to get it out.
Well, when you heave a shovelful on, Tim, kind of give it a twist so you spread out the sand.
Yeah, right, sir. We'll have this smothered in no time.
Over there, the base of the flame.
Yes, sir.
That's where the oil cans were. That's it. Together now.
Yes, sir.
Getting it?
Yeah, we're getting it, Chief. Except for that post to your right. That's caught on now.
You keep shoveling. Let me get my coat off.
Yes, sir.
I'll beat that out in no time.
Yes, sir. Oh, here comes a fire truck at last. You're not darned if we aren't going to have this out before they get here. Yeah. That just about does it.
Yeah.
All right, you men, get as fast as you can and follow me.
Looks like our friend Turner Lawson is taking charge, as usual. Here he comes.
Yes, sir, with Tom Culpepper right behind him. Look at the grin on Tom's face.
Yeah.
Now, if everybody will just keep calm, we'll have this out in a... where's the fire?
Why, there must be some mistake, Mr. Lawson. There doesn't seem to be any fire. Now.
Oh, so you got it out okay, Cody. Didn't amount to much after all.
A lot of them don't at first, but it's been my experience they have a tendency to spread, Mr. Lawson.
I've got an idea Mr. Perkins is going to see the need for trained firemen after this. Thanks, Chief.
Well, if this makes folks see the need for prompt action, I guess I can't object to your putting Tim and me on the spot.
Now, see here, if you think you can use a false alarm like this to prove that we need a lot of useless equipment in town, you're very much mistaken.
Well, we'll leave that to the crowd. Here. Friends, listen to me, folks. You've just seen how two trained men, in sizing up a situation, working together in an orderly fashion.
Don't let him fool you now. You've seen nothing of the kind. And I think Chief Cody could be the first to admit it.
If it hadn't been for him, the whole house would be ablaze by now.
Nonsense. Are you afraid to let me question him?
Well, no.
All right. Just to show you how fair I am, folks, we'll let Chief Cody be the judge. Now, isn't it true, Chief, that this was just a small blaze?
That's right. It didn't amount to much, Mr. Lawson.
Thank you. Did our volunteers get the truck here in time so that they could have put it out?
Why, yes. This time, I guess they did it that.
You're an honest man, sir. In other words, a stream of water from our hose would have had this fire out in no time.
Not at all. You'd probably have burned the house down.
Wow, what do you mean?
There was burning oil on this fort. Why do you think we used sand to smother it? A stream of water wouldn't put out an oil fire, but the minute it hit the flame, would have scattered and spread it.
Well, there you are, folks. Do we need firemen or don't we? You can read more of Chief Cody's suggestions, the ones he wasn't allowed to give at the meeting, in my paper tomorrow.
Just a minute there, Culpepper.
One word before you go, folks. There'll be an editorial in tomorrow's Courier about Mr. Lawson and the coming election, and I don't think you'll want to miss it.
Just what do you mean by that, Culpepper?
I think now you'll go on fighting against decent fire protection for this town as long as it suits you.
I will. I don't think it's necessary, and I'm convinced you started the whole thing to build circulation for your paper.
Well, suppose we let the people be the judge of that, Lawson.
What have they got to do with this?
I believe the average citizen sees the need we face as clearly as Chief Cody, Private Collins, or myself.
And you think that will change my mind, Culpepper?
It should. You represent the people on the council, or rather, I don't think you do represent them any longer.
Now, what do you mean by that?
I'm going to suggest they throw you and your whole slate out of office on election day.
Oh, you think you can threaten me?
Oh, no, not at all. In this country, we have a choice of candidates, whether you like it or not.
My opponents don't stand a chance.
Well, we'll see. I talked with him in the crowd before you made your late arrival. He's behind my program.
All right, Culpepper, you're asking for it. You go ahead and fight me. I think you'll regret it. Yes, you and your friends, too. I think you'll all regret it.
Oh, brother, that guy really sounds sore, Tom.
You think he'll cool off, Tom?
No, Chief. No, I don't. He's a tough customer.
Well, as long as you believe in what you're fighting for...
I do. But I hate to drag you, too, into my fight.
Now, don't worry. This is our fight, too. Agree, Kim?
Yes, sir. If we can help make Plum Valley a safer place for people to live, we'll stick to the end.
Thanks. I don't have any doubts we'll win, but
Well, I would feel a lot more comfortable if I knew what Turner Lawson was going to do next.
Well, the fight is out in the open now, and the man our friends face is one of influence and determination. There's bound to be a tense struggle before the election comes off. So to be in on it, don't miss the next exciting episode of the Firefighters. In a moment, Chief Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own town. But right now, here's a message I want you to hear. And now, Chief Bob Cody with a word for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. Last time we talked together, I suggested clearing that vacant lot where you play of all dead leaves and trash. Now, I want to follow that up right away with a suggestion about how to do it. There's no point clearing a fire breeder if you create a fire hazard in doing it. So if you possibly can, cart dry leaves or rubbish away. If that's impossible, and you have to burn this kind of thing in the open, do so in a big wire container or something of the sort. And make positive sure an adult is there when you do it. Never forget fires of any kind in the open, even little ones, are at the whim of every breeze. Well, that's all for now. Till we meet next time, so long.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's go! Let's go! Firefighters!
Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Mr. Frank Lovejoy in tonight's presentation of Suspense. Tonight, Autolite presents the story about a man who committed a murder and got away with it for quite a while. Public Defender, our star, Mr. Frank Lovejoy. Hey, Hap, why is April like an Autolite Stay Full battery?
Oh, that's easy, Harlow. They're both famous.
Right, Hap. The Autolite Stay Full has 3 times the liquid reserve of ordinary batteries. And that's why it needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
But that isn't all the Autolite Stay Full is famous for.
No, sir. It's famous for longer life, too. Fiberglass retaining mats surround every positive plate to reduce shedding and flaking and give the Autolite Stay Full battery longer life, as proved by tests conducted according to accepted life cycle standards.
So April's the month, eh, Harlow?
Right, the month to visit your Autolite battery dealer, the expert on all makes of batteries. To quickly locate him, phone Western Union by number and ask for Operator 25.
I'll gladly tell you the name of your nearest Autolite battery dealer, where you can get an Autolite Stay Full, the battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite. And now, Autolite presents Public Defender, starring Mr. Frank Lovejoy, hoping once again to keep you in suspense.
The newspapers say it was a matter of conscience. Well, they're wrong. Dead wrong. It wasn't conscience or anything like that. But just the way he looked and talked. Conscience? I don't have one. I don't think you do either. It was a swell morning, and they were having a swell parade. The whole town was out watching it. I was there, too. I didn't want to miss anything. I was standing on the north side of 6th Street off of Curtis, right by the alley. I'd already spotted this lady in the fur coat. She was about 5 feet from me, sort of standing on her toes, trying to look over everybody's head. I looked around to make sure she was alone before I came up in back of her.
What?
Easy now.
But just a minute, that's my purse.
You weren't supposed to notice, lady, but now that you have, this is a knife. Now, don't make a move. Don't make one single little move, or I'll shove it right in your back. I said not to move. I put one arm around her and held her up until the drum and bugle corps passed. No one noticed when I let her slip to the ground. Then I just turned around and walked away. The papers called it the Armistice Day killing. It said her name was Tyler and that her husband did something for the county. Their pictures were all over the front page. That night I called myself a bus for St. Louis and stayed there about a month. It's a pretty good town. I got back here in time for Christmas and no one bothered me up until a few days ago. Who is it?
It's Mrs. Weaver.
Oh. What time is it?
8 o'clock. There are 2 men downstairs who want to talk to you. They're from the police department.
Policeman?
Yes, policemen. I told them you were sleeping, and could they come back later, or could you call them? They said they wanted to talk to you right now. You in any trouble?
I don't know. I hope not. Tell them I'll be right down, Mrs. Weaver.
Well, all right, Mr. Penn. They must have made a mistake or something.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Are you Philip James Penn?
Yes.
Police. I'm Sergeant Quinn. Sergeant Lacey.
Uh-huh. I was just looking around for my robe. I was coming right down.
Isn't that a robe over there on the chair?
Oh? Oh, by golly, it is. What's this all about? What do you want to see me for?
Oh, just checking a few things, Penn. I'm sorry to get you up like this.
Oh, that's okay. I want to get up early today anyhow. I usually sleep on Sundays if I can, but I had some extra work to do today.
Oh, where are you working these days, Penn?
I'm not working at all. I'm going to school 8 hours a day.
Where?
Commercial Electrical College.
How long have you been doing that?
Since last January. I enrolled on the 15th. Why?
How do you live?
I'd saved a little money. I worked here and there.
Where are you from?
Milwaukee.
How long have you been in town?
Better part of a year, I guess. Say,
how old are you?
31.
Married?
No.
Ever been in trouble?
No, sir.
Ever been arrested?
No, sir.
How about back in Milwaukee?
I've never been in any kind of trouble. Never been arrested. No, sir.
Do you know, Walter Kalaman?
Walter Kalaman? Now, that name sounds familiar in a way. I can't place it at the moment, though.
Oh, he places you pretty well. Says you worked for him once at his place over on 17th. 17th and Glenarm.
Kalaman, huh? I worked for him? 17th? When was this?
Can't you remember who you worked for?
Well, I told you I haven't worked regular for a long time. I've had lots of jobs here and there around town.
You had this one around last Christmas, Penn. From the 18th of December through the 5th of January.
Oh, yes, the Ace Haberdashery. Oh, sure. I clerked there. You can't expect me to remember a man's name just like that when it's so far back. Sure, I remember Mr. Kalaman now. What about him?
Mr. Kalaman's store was burglarized last night, Penn. Somebody got away with $400 or so.
Well, I'll be darned.
Mr. Kalaman closed his store at 6 o'clock last night. About 10 o'clock, he was out riding with his wife, and he says he saw you standing in front of the place. Mrs. Kalaman saw you, too.
Yeah?
How about it, Penn? You're a big, tall fella, fairly easy to pick out. The Kalamans recognized you.
Oh, I think they made a mistake, Sergeant.
Were you around that store at any time last night?
No, sir, I sure wasn't. Not anywhere near it. I was right here in this room in bed last night.
Can you prove that?
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried.
Mr. Kalaman said that you had a key to the store when you worked for him. Still have that key?
I gave it back to Mr. Kalaman when he let me go.
He says you didn't give it back.
Well, then he's mistaken. I gave him back his key.
Whoever got in there last night had a key, Penn. How about putting some clothes on and coming downtown with us?
Well, do I have to go?
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of things I wanted to do today. I've got some studying I want to finish. Don't you believe me?
Let's go, Phil.
I was afraid to go with him. I didn't want to have anything to do with cops. They asked too many questions, and if I answered too many of them, they were bound to find out something about... about other things. It was a little rougher than I expected when we got downtown. Besides Caliban and his wife, the guy in the filling station across the street identified me. Old Lady Weaver wouldn't back up my story about my being home sleeping. And then they went out and looked over my room and found the key to Caliban's store in my coat pocket. I don't know how it got there. And everybody remembered I'd been wearing that coat the night before. A little while later, a man named Hale, who said he was from the district attorney's office, got me alone in a room and had me go over the whole thing. I thought he was pretty well convinced for a while.
You know, you're in a pretty tough spot here.
Oh, I know that.
Illegal entry and burglary, you could get up to 7 years.
Well, I don't want no 7 years, sir. I haven't done anything.
And there's something else you should know.
What?
Mr. Calaman kept his money hidden in one of the boxes on a shelf downstairs in the store. Somebody who had worked there had to take it.
Well, why don't they ask somebody else who's worked there?
It's just a small place. He only opened it a few months ago. You're the only help he's ever hired. Penn, you're the only one who could possibly have knowledge of where that money was hidden. Penn, you want to make a statement?
No, sir, I didn't take it. I wasn't around that store.
Okay, Penn, that's all.
They booked me in and I was arraigned. A couple of days later, they had a hearing. Everybody came in and told their little story.
Philip James Penn, you have heard the charges of which you stand accused. It is my duty to inform you that it has been determined that a public offense has been committed. This is not a trial court. You will have ample opportunity to produce witnesses and defend yourself at the proper time and place. Are you represented?
No, Your Honor, I don't have a lawyer.
Do you have any means whereby you can procure counsel?
I'm broke, Your Honor. Nobody to help me out. I don't have any money.
Clerk, see that Office of the Public Defender is notified. I hereby commit the accused to the custody of the sheriff of this county pending the action of the grand jury. Adjourned.
Yeah, it was kind of rough out, all right. They had it about all fixed up against me, and I saw myself doing a nice little 7 years for a burglary I hadn't committed. Then this fellow from the public defender's office showed up. When I saw him coming toward my cell with a turnkey, there was something familiar about his face. And yet I didn't know him.
That's today, huh?
Sure is, Jim.
Yeah. County jail's no place to be on a hot day.
Any day, I guess, Jim.
Yeah. Now, here we go. Ben, this is Mr. Tyler. He wants to talk to you.
Did you say Tyler?
Yeah.
My mind was going a mile a minute, but I couldn't think of anything to say. So I just stood there and looked at the guy who was going to handle me in court. I recognized him. His picture had been in the paper with a story about her. I'd killed his wife.
Hello, Phil. I'm here to help you.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Frank Lovejoy in Public Defender. Tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Well, I know a lot of folks get daylight saving time soon.
Well, Hap, it's saving time all the time when you've got an Autolite Stay Full battery in your car. Because with an Autolite Stay Full, you have the power for quick, sure starts every time.
Power that really lasts, eh, Harlow?
Ah, you know it, Hap. Fiberglass retaining mats protect the power of every positive plate to reduce shedding and flaking and give the Autolite Stay Full longer life, as proved by tests conducted according to accepted life cycle standards.
And the Autolite Stay Full hardly ever needs water.
Only 3 times a year in normal car use. So, friends, visit your expert Autolite battery dealer. Just phone Western Union by number and ask for Operator 25.
I'll quickly tell you the location of your nearest Autolite battery dealer.
Where you can get an Autolite Stay Full battery. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Frank Lovejoy in Elliot Lewis's production of Public Defender, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I'll be right down the hall, Mr. Tyler.
All right, Jim.
Just call when you need me.
All right, Jim. Well, now, the fellow says it was a pretty good trip, but now I have to pay for it. Like a smoke?
Thanks.
Oh, no need to look like that. Yeah.
Thanks.
At your hearing, you told the court that you weren't represented by counsel, Phil. That's why I came here. I'd like to handle your case for you.
I don't have any money.
If you're in trouble, you have a right to legal counsel whether you have any money or not. We have a law that says that, Phil. You don't have to have any money with me. My fee's on the county. You understand that?
I guess I do.
Well, good. Sit down, Phil. Sure hot, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now, how about telling me the whole thing?
Didn't you read the charges?
Oh, yes, but I want to hear what you have to say about them.
Well, how do I know you're not from the district attorney's office here trying to tie me up some way?
No, I'm not, Phil. I'm on your side. I'm representing you.
Well, you work for the county, same as the district attorney.
We work pretty hard keeping people out of jail, too. I'd like you to be very frank with me and tell me everything that happened.
Well, nothing happened.
All right. Where were you Saturday night, son? Phil, Mrs. Weaver told me that you were out until midnight or better. She heard you come in. Phil, were you around Mr. Callman's store?
No.
Where were you, son?
I just walking and thinking, that's all.
Alone?
Yeah.
Tell me what you were thinking about. What was on your mind? Were you worried about something?
Oh, no. I was thinking about a lot of things, what I was going to do.
Now, tell me what you mean.
Oh, just about finishing my course in electrical work and maybe getting a good job someplace and settling down, getting married.
Well, a lot of young fellows go around thinking just about the same things. Ever been married?
No.
You have a girl?
No.
Do you go to church?
Sometimes. Not very often.
Why did you tell the officers you were home sleeping, Phil?
Well, I was scared, I guess.
Oh, why? Are you afraid of policemen, Phil?
I guess so.
Oh, why, Phil?
I don't know.
Well, now, while you were out walking, did you stop in any place, like for a drink or something?
No.
Did you see anybody you knew, somebody who might be able to identify you?
No, I just took a good long walk.
What time did you leave the boarding house?
Right after dinner, maybe, 7:30, 7:45.
Oh, where'd you go from there?
I walked downtown to see if there are any movies I'd like to see. There weren't any, so I just kept walking around town. It was a nice night.
It sure was. You walked till after midnight,
Yeah.
huh? Phil, you had a key to that store. You knew where Callman hid his money. You were seen in the vicinity of the store the night he was robbed. Now, if you robbed Mr. Callman's store, I'll have to know all about it if I'm going to help you.
No, sir, I did not rob that store. Honest, I didn't.
All right. I'll do my best to help you prove it. I'll do everything I can for you. We'll enter a not guilty plea. You have plenty of cigarettes, eh?
Yeah. Mr. Tyler, do I have a chance of getting off?
Oh, that depends on how good a defense we put up. Mostly on whether or not we have all the facts. Well, you have no arrest antedating this one. That's in your favor. All I see now, you're a pretty industrious, ambitious sort of fellow. All these things will come into account when we get into court. We'll fight it out together. Well, I have to run along now, but I'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, you just sort of relax and straighten out your thoughts.
What do you mean?
Oh, man hardly ever takes a 5-hour walk. Maybe you'll have some things to tell me about when I come again. Oh, Jim? Jim?
Yo!
Now, you just take it easy.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Tyler?
Okay, Jim. See you tomorrow morning, Phil.
Right, Mr. Tyler. I saw him quite a bit after that, and I got to know him pretty well. He brought some city maps over one day and had me show him where I'd walked that night. And after that, he spent a lot of time asking me about my family and the people I knew and the people who knew me. And then one day, he asked me something else.
Why didn't you tell me about the trip?
What?
Mrs. Weaver said you went to St. Louis last year sometime. Why didn't you tell me about it?
Well, I didn't think it was important.
Well, it is important. Very important.
Why?
Well, what'd you use for money?
I had some.
Where'd you get it?
I saved it.
Phil, you came here last May. You went to work at the Vickers Auto Park System from May 15th to August 1st. You made $38 a week. You didn't work again until September 9th. Then you worked 2 weeks for the Marblehead Construction Company. You made $122 there. You didn't work in the month of October at all. And only 1 week in November at Lacey's Auto Wash for $41. Now, where'd you ever get the money to go to St. Louis?
I saved it, Mr. Tyler.
I'm asking you the questions now that the district attorney might ask you in court because, well, he might think you've been robbing people.
Mr. Tyler,
How could you put out $20 or $25 a week for board and room and still save enough for an expensive trip to St. Louis? Oh, what did you do while you were there?
I just sort of looked around.
Did you work there?
No.
And you saved the money for the trip?
Yeah.
You've been saving for a long time?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell Mrs. Weaver about the trip?
I did.
You told her about it the night you left. Yet you say you've been planning it for months. Phil, I've got to have the truth.
I'm telling you the truth.
Where'd you stay in St. Louis?
At the Hall Hotel.
How much rent you pay?
I didn't pay any rent. I stayed there with a friend of mine. It didn't cost me a dime.
What's your friend's name?
Jack O'Brien.
Is he still there now?
Why?
Well, I want to wire him and verify this.
He's in the Army now.
What do you figure the trip cost you?
Just my bus fare, nothing more, a little spending money. He paid for my meals, too.
Saying $100?
I had $93 when I left.
And when'd you get back?
By the middle of December.
When'd you leave?
Armistice Day.
Why'd you take a sudden trip on Armistice Day?
Well, I just wanted to go, leave town.
Why?
I don't know, Mr. Tyler.
You don't remember the exact day you got back, but you remember the day you left.
Mr. Tyler, I don't go around robbing people. I just don't do it. I didn't take that money from Mr. Callum store. I never did any harm to anybody, Mr. Tyler. You believe me, don't you?
Yeah, Phil.
We went to court the next day. Hale, the district attorney's man, got up and told the jury what he was going to prove, and Mr. Tyler got up and told him how none of it was true. After that, he asked the judge to keep all of the witnesses out of the room except the one that had something to say. The judge said that was all right. And then the two cops who'd arrested me showed up and told about it, and then Mrs. Weaver came in and told how I hadn't been home. And finally, Hale called Callum in and spent 15 minutes or so having him say I was around the store the night it was robbed, that I had a key, and that I knew where the money was hidden. Well, Mr. Tyler listened to all of it. Then he took his turn.
You testified, Mr. Callum, that the accused was in the vicinity of your store the night the money was taken.
Yes, sir.
And you saw him while you were out driving with your wife.
Yes, sir.
Can you describe the clothing he was wearing at the time?
He had on a sport coat and a pair of gray pants and a blue shirt.
Well, what color was the sport coat, Mr. Callum?
Tan.
Was he wearing a hat?
No hat.
How close were you when you saw him?
Well, I was driving in the outside lane, and he was right on the street. 20 feet away, I'd say.
How fast was your car traveling at the time?
We were at the stop street.
Then you had a good look at him?
Yes, sir.
For how long a period of time?
Maybe 10 seconds, just while we stopped.
With the court's permission, I'd like to ask the witness to step over in front of the jury.
Any objections from the prosecution?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Callum. Right there will be fine. Now, Mr. Callum, will you look at the juror sitting directly in front of you?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Callum. Turn around, please. Now, tell me, Mr. Callum, what does that man look like?
Why, he's got gray hair. He's wearing glasses.
Can you tell me the color of his suit?
Brown, I think.
His tie?
No.
His shirt?
No.
This is the witness who, by his own statement, saw the accused for 10 seconds and positively identified him.
The same thing happened to Callum's wife and the filling station man. It was all over in less than an hour. The jury went out and came back and said that I wasn't guilty. And finally everybody had left, and I was standing there with him.
Well, son, how do you feel?
Pretty good, Mr. Tyler. I don't know how to thank you.
Don't thank me, son. Thank the law that protects you. Well, what are you going to do now?
Go back to school, I guess.
Let me hear from you now and then. Glad to know how you're getting along.
I'll do that, Mr. Tyler.
You can go, Phil.
Yeah. Well, so long.
So long.
Phil.
Yes, Mr. Tyler?
You, have anything you want to tell me?
No, sir.
I sort of had the feeling that you, wanted to say something, Phil.
Mr. Tyler, I'll say it once more. I didn't rob Callum's store.
I know that. You're innocent of that charge.
Well, what are you getting at?
I just wondered if there was anything else you'd like to tell me. Phil?
No.
You know, a man might do something in his life sometime that no one else will ever know about but him. And he can go through life keeping it inside, not telling anybody about it. And another man might have an idea or suspect him, but it wouldn't be right to come out and say anything unless he had some facts. Now, I have an idea of what the man was like who killed my wife. Might be wrong, but I think I know exactly what he was like, Phil. Did you know my wife?
Yes, sir.
Read about it in the papers that night on the bus?
No, sir.
Oh. Where'd you get the money to go to St. Louis, Phil? Did you get it from my wife's handbag?
I didn't mean to. If I'd known she was your wife, sir, I wish I hadn't killed her, sir. Mr. Tyler, don't look at me like that, Mr. Tyler. Please, sir, don't look at me like that.
Suspense
presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Frank Lovejoy.
This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for Autolite, world's largest independent manufacturer of automotive electrical equipment. Autolite is proud to serve the greatest names in the industry. They are members of the Autolite family, as well as are the 98,000 Autolite distributors and dealers in the United States and thousands more in Canada and throughout the world. Our family also includes the nearly 30,000 men and women in 28 great Autolite plants from coast to coast and Autolite plants in many foreign countries, as well as the 18,000 people who have invested a portion of their savings in Autolite. Every Autolite product is backed by constant research and precision built to the highest standards of quality and performance. So remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
Next week, a study in fear as we present Graham Greene's novel of cowardice, The Man Within. Our star, Mr. Herbert Marshall. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Elliott Lewis, with music composed by Lucian Morwick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. Public Defender was written for Suspense by E. Jack Newman. In tonight's story, Joseph Kearns was heard as Tyler. Featured in the cast were Paula Winslow, Larry Thor, Lou Krugman, Whitfield Connor, Herb Butterfield, and Charles Calvert.
Frank Lovejoy can currently be seen co-starring in House of Wax, Warner Brothers' new three-dimensional picture, Color by Warner Color.
You can buy Autolite Stateful batteries, Autolite resistor or standard-type spark plugs, and Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
Now, the third play of A Man. The scene, a hill overlooking Steel Town. Far below, the furnaces roar with flame. The great chimneys pour smoke up into the cold blue sky. Alone, one Giorgio Maslerovic, steelworker, sits looking down into the valley of steel. He lifts his face, a face lined deep with sorrow, and speaks.
I tell you, buddy, sure. Me, I would like to go to meal. Yeah. I come up the street. The air she's cold. The sky she's black like inside empty furnace. I laugh. I say, hey, you old son, you sleep late. That's all right for you. But me, Giorgio Maslarovic, I got go meal. I got go make steel. Yeah, that's what I say. I keep walking to meal. I see my friends. They go work too. Joe, Steve, Nick, Hassan, friends from all countries. Good, strong Croatian hands they got like me. Strong hands for to make strong steel. They work along. They say, Kakovski, how's everything, George? I said, dobre, everything she's fine. She's going to be good day for make good steel. They laugh. They say, going to be good day, make money. Buy more shoe and pants and bread and meat for kids. Things for kids. Yeah, I think that's good, too. Make money for buy things my wife and kids. Money for send old mother back in old country so she has eat. Yeah, make money for that. That'd be very good thing. But first, I like make steel. Good steel. Steel what run out white with blue flame round on top. Steel but cool, slow red, like the sun when she fall down from sky. Steel what run slow through rolling mills. Blue, black steel, like night, when stars shine out real sharp and cold. Yeah, good steel. That's my life, I tell you. I go in mills. Right there, I hear music. Yeah, music, I tell you. Every morning when I come into mill, I can hear it. Out of furnace, out of smoking pits, out of forges and the rolling mills. A burning music, a hammering music, singing out of the floors, out of the machines dragging the ingots, out of furnace and hot pits. Every morning when I come to mill, I can hear it. I listen, I feel good, I like it. We sing over and over again the song of the steel. A good song for the good steel. And then, yeah, I don't fool you. The steel, she talk right up to me. Yeah, to me, Giorgio Maslarovic. She talk to me strong and straight like good woman talk. She say, "Hello, Giorgio, to work, my friend. Make me strong. Yeah, make me strong, Giorgio. I got to be strong. Strong for the old big buildings on my back. Strong for the gross deep river. Strong for the old plain. Strong for to make house for people. I got hard work to do, Giorgio, so make me strong, my friend." I laugh. I say, sure, I make you strong for that good thing. Sure, my friend, the steel. I make hard work for to make you strong still. Yeah, me, Giorgio Maslarovic, I do it. And then the machines, the big cranes and the rolling mills and the hammers, they laugh at me. They laugh and say, "Sure, Giorgio, we help you make steel strong." And the wheels go faster, over and over the whole mill. I hear them talking. Saying, "Yeah, we help Giorgio. We help make strong steel. Strong steel for building what go up the sky. Strong steel for trains that go fast. Strong steel for tools what make good things for people to live better. Faster, work, steel. Make steel strong, make steel good steel, good steel." And then, for a long time, is no work. Lay off. No more smoke from new chimney. No more song from furnace. Everything is cold and quiet. No work. No. I sit at home. I wait. I know the world needs for steel. Yeah, the mill she starts again. She's got for to. The people need good house, good tools, good everything the steel can make, yeah. So I wait. Someday. And then, one day the whistle blow. I run to the door. My friend calls, "Giorgio, the milk is open, the work she starts." I grab my wife, my kids, I laugh, I jump. Right, I was right to wait. The time she's come, the world won't steal again, good steal. I run to me. "It's me," I say, "I could work." Me, Giorgio Maslarovic. They say, "Sure, Giorgio, we got work for you, plenty work." So good. I run into mill, I know can wait. My friend is steel, I want to hear her. I got to hear her. But no, the song, she's not the same. It's not the same. Why? And then the steel, she talk. And this time her talk is not so sweet. It's hard talk, like women talking street. She say, "To work, Giorgio Maslarovic, get to work. I am airplane now, but drop bombs from sky. I am gun now, but shoot the kill. I am thing called tank now, but crush out little people. To work, Giorgio Maslarovic, to work. Got no time for things like building. Got no time for plant, trees, and train, and houses. Guns and airplanes, bomb and bullets. Make me fast, now, Maslarovic. Make me fast for guns to shoot straight. Make me fast for kill the people. Work, Giorgio Maslarovic, work!" No. Not me. I don't make steel for that, not for guns, not for killing. No, not me. Let me the dirt from fields first. Let my kids starve in the streets first. But not for guns. I hate steal.
Tonight's 3 short plays were especially written for radio by Arch Oboler and featured Miss Joan Blaine in Dark World, Mr. Raymond Edward Johnson in Steelworker, as originally performed on the Valley Hour. The Laughing Man was Mr. Teddy Bergman with John Brown. This program was listened to by the full session of the Third American Writers' Congress, now meeting in New York City. Next week, we will bring you the first comedy Mr. Oboler has written for this series. Its title, Nero's Wife. Arch Oboler's Plays. On the winds of the night, we bring you a story whispered in the night. Arch Oboler's Plays are presentations of the National Broadcasting Company, RCA Building, Radio City, New York.
Let every go signal remind you that you do go farther with Signal gasoline. The Signal Oil Program. The Signal Oil Company and your neighborhood Signal dealer bring you another curious story by the Whistler. Tonight, Lie or Consequences.
And I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales, many secrets hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Presently I'll tell you of nameless terrors of which they dare not speak. Within the human character, the line between good and evil is a thin and waving one. And very often the one small impulse for good will outweigh and nullify the bad. Such was the case with Michael Cobb. Mike wasn't bad, really. It happened while he was a kid before he knew any better. He'd gotten into trouble, gone to prison, served a stretch. Now he's out, and he's learned his lesson. He's proving that. He's going straight, working hard at his job in the office of a large department store. He's married to a girl he loves, and he's happy.
Delicious. Delicious. Oh, nobody can cook a better breakfast than you, darling.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mike, don't bolt your coffee.
I gotta run. I'll be late.
Well, a couple of minutes won't make any difference.
Well, maybe not most days, but today is going to be a big one. The last shopping day before Christmas, you know. Stores will be jammed. We'll be swamped with work until late tonight. Besides, I don't want to spoil my record. 6 months and I haven't been late to work once.
I know. It's fine. I'm sure the store appreciates it.
Yeah, Lane, I think they do, too. I really think they like me down there. You know, like my work and everything.
Oh, sure, Mike. How could they help liking you?
No, I mean, well, I'm beginning to feel like all that stuff is all forgotten. Almost like something that's never happened.
It is. It is forgotten, Mike. Everything's different now.
Yeah, it is. Oh, this is going to be a lot different Christmas than the last one, isn't it?
Yes, Mike.
You were wonderful, Elaine. Coming to see me, sticking by me. Oh, darling, I promise you there'll never be another Christmas like that. Never.
I know there won't, Mike. From now on, they're all going to be really Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you bet. Oh, gosh, that reminds me. I haven't got your presents yet. I'll have to run out my lunch hour and find something.
Now, Mike, you're not going to go spending a lot of money on me. Oh, maybe next year we'll be more on our feet.
No, never you mind. I'll get you what I done, please. Oh, my gosh. How I will be late if I don't run.
Hey, here's your hat.
Oh, thanks. Well, goodbye, darling. If I don't get home before midnight, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, it looks like a Merry Christmas for you at last, doesn't it, Mike? For the first time in your life, almost. A real Merry Christmas. You notice the smiles on people's faces as they walk down the street. You get sort of a kick out of the fancy red and green draped windows of the store. The holly smells good in the elevator. And you chuckle as you pass the toy department with a perspiring Santa Claus pulling on his red coat. Then into the office, everybody smiling. Yeah, you know what, Mike? Maybe you're getting that thing they call the Christmas spirit.
Well, morning, George. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Mike. Pretty cheerful this morning, aren't you?
Oh, why not? It's almost Christmas, a day of good cheer. Well, what's the matter with you, Sourpuss?
Nuts. Humboldt.
Uh-oh. The boss on the rampage again, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what is it this time?
You haven't heard?
No, what?
Somebody lifted another $1,000 out of the receipts last night.
What, again?
Yeah. It makes about 10 grand that's been missing in the last 6 months.
Well, no wonder Mr. Humboldt's upset.
The detectives are in there with him right now, and they've got old Gus, the night watchman, in for questioning. I suppose we'll all be on the carpet like the last time.
Oh, gee, that's not so good. $10,000. Hey, that's grand larceny.
Yeah, and the cops are probably getting pretty sore about not pinning it on somebody. Now, look, here comes old Gus, fresh from the Inquisition.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Humboldt.
Gus. Hey, Gus.
Yeah, Mr. Osborne?
They're playing questions and answers in there again, Gus?
Yeah. There was you this time, there was you that time. The only time I got to sleep when they called me down here for this. What for would I want to steal money for? I got a wife. Fine wife. 4 kids. I steal money, I go to jail. They starve. What for would I steal?
Sure, Gus. But I know why you're so worked up about it.
Yeah?
You probably had to admit where you were last night between 12 and 1 o'clock.
How come you know that, where I was?
Go on. Everybody in the store knows that, Gus. It's a standing joke. Everybody knows you eat your lunch every morning between 12 and 1. They know you go up to the 13th floor and stretch out on one of those divans in the Louis the 15th room, the classiest in the joint.
Okay, so what's wrong with that? I got to eat. Why not in style?
Sure, only for that hour. Anybody could come in and move out the other 12 floors, and you'd never know it.
All right, so what? Maybe that is when somebody stole money. I do not know. I only know I did not steal. And this is the only time I got to sleep, when they have to go asking me questions.
What a character.
Hey, is that true about his breakfast from 12 to 1?
Sure. There's a night watchman for you.
That probably explains why they're so sure the thief is somebody inside the store. Somebody who knows about Gus and what time he won't be on this floor.
Yeah, it could be. Uh-oh, that's Humboldt. Yes, Mr. Humboldt. Yes. It's right away, sir. Just as I thought. It's my turn now. Well, if I start screaming, you'll know he's putting me on the rack.
Okay. I'll bring a branding iron to your rescue.
Don't laugh yet. You'll probably be next. If Humboldt really decides to catch a thief, he'll catch one by hook or crook.
Merry Christmas, Mike. Oh, now what's the matter? You don't seem as happy as you were. Something happened to dampen the Christmas spirit, maybe? Something you can't describe, can't even put your finger on? Just a funny, sinking feeling? Forget it. George Osborne has been in and out of Humboldt's office, and almost the whole day has gone by and nothing's happened. And everything seems to have calmed down. In fact, it's George's turn to have the Christmas spirit.
I really didn't expect it this year, but there it was in my pay envelope. Nice and crisp and green. With the best Christmas wishes of the J.C. Deaver's store.
Oh, gee, that's swell, George.
Yeah, real honest to gosh Christmas bonus. I can sure use it.
Who couldn't?
I don't know whether you get one or not, Mike. You've only been here 6 months. Then maybe. By the way, why don't you mosey in and pick up your pay? It's almost 9 o'clock. We close in 5 minutes.
Well, I guess I'd better wait for Mr. Humboldt to call me. Golly, I thought we'd get paid earlier. I still haven't bought Elaine's present.
Ah, well, don't worry. Most of the smaller stores will still be open for a couple of hours.
Yeah, sure. But I thought I'd get her something she liked real well in a little store up on 10th Avenue. Oh, well, it'll be open till late.
Say, I wonder if they found out anything about the 10 grand. Boy, they've really questioned everybody around, though.
They didn't question me. In fact, they'd never questioned me about it. I don't quite understand that.
Oh, well, I don't know. I guess you got such an honest face or something.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yes, Mr. Humboldt. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'll send him right in. Well, maybe we spoke too soon. He wants to see you.
Oh?
On the other hand, maybe he just wants to hand you your Christmas bonus in person. After all, you are getting to be the fair-haired boy around here these days.
I'd better go in.
You might even be in line for a promotion. You can't tell.
Okay. You wanted to see me, Mr. Humboldt?
Yes, yes, Cobb. Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Cobb, you've been with us 6 months now.
Yes, sir?
And I must admit that in that time you've demonstrated an admirable aptitude for the work.
Thanks, Mr. Humboldt.
Yes, in fact, there's been some discussion of raising your salary, promoting you. I even talked to Mr. Prentice, the manager, about it myself.
Well, thanks, Mr. Humboldt.
Yes, and that's why I regret very much to tell you this. I must inform you that we're forced to dispense with your services as of tonight.
Dispense? You mean I'm fired?
I'm afraid that's it. Yeah, your 2 weeks' pay is in this envelope.
Wait a minute. If I'm been so good, why am I being fired?
I'm not at liberty to offer any explanations. I have my order just the
It's got
same as...
something to do with this missing money, hasn't it?
I told
This
you
is your
that...
way of telling me you think I took it, isn't it?
Now, Cobb,
That's it, isn't it, Mr. Humboldt? You've questioned everyone else in the department. With me, you figure questions are unnecessary, don't you?
Well, since you put it that way, Cobb, naturally we must take into consideration your past.
You knew about my prison record. I told you about it. But I've told you about if I was going to steal again?
I'm not accusing you of stealing again. I only say we can't afford to take chances. We simply find it advisable...
All right. I understand. I understand a lot of things now, Mr. Humboldt. Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Humboldt, for the Christmas bonus.
Hey, Mike, wait a minute. Well, did you get it? Did he give you a Christmas bonus?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a Christmas bonus, all right.
Hey, what's up? What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. I'll tell you about it later. I'm leaving now.
Oh, yeah, you're in a hurry. But wait, I almost forgot. With my bonus, I can pay you the $30 I owe you.
Huh?
Here. 10, 20, 30. That ought to help with that present for your wife, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, George. Thanks.
Merry Christmas, Mike. Yeah. That premonition you had this morning was right, wasn't it? That funny, sinking feeling. Now you know, don't you, Mike? You knew it all the time, really. All this past 6 months you've been kidding yourself. The dream bubble has burst. Merry Christmas, Mike. The crowds are still cheerful on the streets. The windows are still bright and gay, and the holly still spices the air. But you don't see or feel or smell. No, there's only the sensation of a chill wind cutting you to the bone as you wander the dark streets, not knowing or caring where you are.
Hello, Michael. Merry Christmas.
Huh? Oh, hello, Reverend Hewitt. I didn't see you.
So I noticed. I was just getting home from my last-minute shopping. Won't you come in for a moment? A cup of tea, perhaps?
Why, no, I...
Oh, come on. I haven't seen you for a long time. That is, for a chat. Besides, it's chilly out. A cup of hot tea will warm you up. You look as if you could stand warming up, Michael. Come in.
No, I've got to get along.
Oh, come now. That lovely wife of yours won't miss you for a few more minutes.
I tell you, I've got to go.
Very well, Michael. I won't keep you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Reverend. I didn't mean to,
Well, I understand, son. You're troubled. Is there anything I can do?
No, I'm all right.
Well, I know you too well, Michael. I've known you all my life. Now, I've helped you before, haven't I? Why?
I don't know. I don't know whether you did or not. All that stuff you told me about turning over a new leaf, forgetting the past, I believed it.
Oh, yes, of course.
Now, maybe you should have told it to some other people instead of me. It just don't work, Reverend. It just don't work. All that stuff about being good and doing good.
It
don't pay you off.
It does, Michael. It does. You must believe that. Even a little good done brings a great reward.
Yeah, maybe to some people. Only maybe some of us are behind an 8-ball we can't get around.
Michael, please come in. I feel I must talk to you.
Not tonight, Reverend. At all the talking I can stand. Now I'm going to do my own thinking. I know what I'm going to do. You can bet your sweet life I know just what I'm going to do.
Yes, your mind is made up now, isn't it, Mike? Humboldt made it up for you, didn't he? You hate him, don't you, Mike? And all the smug people like him who've never done a stretch and stir. They're your enemies, aren't they, Mike? Whether you wanted them to be or not. And you're just one of the cell rats. Okay, if that's the way it is, That's the way you'll play it. What's that? Footsteps following you? Maybe if you stop by this lighted window. Yeah, you were right, Mike. They're following you, all right. 2 of them. You saw them duck into that doorway when you stopped and turned around.
Tailing me. They got dicks tailing me. Why, sure, you dope. They wouldn't let you just walk out of there. They think you took the money. They're going to tail you, hound you, track you down. Okay, if they think I took the money, I'll give them reason to. This time I will take it.
You are listening to The Whistler, brought to you by your friend, the Signal Oil Company. Marketers of famous Signal gasoline, your best buy today. Remember to let every go signal remind you do go farther with Signal gasoline.
Merry Christmas, Mike. A very Merry Christmas, isn't it? 6 months of going straight and you've given it up. You're going back to the store and get your share of those days' receipts. Yes, it's all so simple, isn't it, Mike? It'll soon be 12 o'clock midnight, and old Gus will be up in the Louis 15th room on the 13th floor. The safe in Humboldt's office will be a cinch. You've seen it many times. And as for the 2 dicks tailing you now, it'll be duck soup to shake 'em. Duck soup. That's right. You're heading up 10th Avenue now. You can double back and... What's wrong, Mike? Why are you stopping? Could it be that tune, the brightly lighted window, the old man standing back there? Of course, now you remember. 10th Avenue. This is old Mr. Samuel's little store. This is it, where you're going to buy Elaine her Christmas present. And there it is. What you heard, the music box, sitting on the counter next to the open door, playing.
Well, good evening, Michael, and Merry Christmas.
Hiya, Mr. Samuel.
You came in just in time. I was just about to close up. I guess down at your big store you've been closed for a long time. But here, well, we little fellows have to stay open to get all the business we can. What can I do for you?
Is this the music box that Elaine likes so well?
Ah, yes, that is the one. She was very taken with it. Ah, how her eyes sparkled when she looked at it.
Yeah, there's a powder puff of something inside, isn't
it? That is right. And when you open it, it plays the little tune. So. Yes, she was saying how it was her favorite tune.
Okay. How much is it?
Well, it's usually priced at $75, but I'll give it to you and the young lady for $50.
$50?
Well, yes, you see, it's a genuine antique, and it's the best thing I have in this store.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's more than I figured on.
I'm sorry, too. I would have let you have it for less if I could, but 50 is the lowest.
Sure. Well, okay, forget it.
I'm sorry. Come back again.
Now what's the matter, Mike? Why are you stopping? Could it be you can't make up your mind? Could it be you're thinking about the music box, about Elaine, about Christmas? Yes. This may be your last Christmas with her, you know. Your last chance to give her a decent present with clean money. Money you earned. It might be a nice gesture, eh, Mike? A little token of all that might have been.
Oh, Mr. Samuels, I'll take it. Wrap it up as a gift, and I'll take it.
Merry Christmas, Mike. That's what's written across the package. It was going to be a symbol for a wonderful new life, wasn't it? And now it's an ironic farewell. Your last attempt at doing good, as Reverend Hewitt called it. Too bad it won't bring you that great reward he promised. It won't have a chance, because there are those 2 dicks still following you. And you're heading for J.C. Deaver's department store, office of Henry Humboldt, and the interior of his safe. It's almost 12 midnight, and you have to duck those guys quick.
30 girls, 30. The greatest little show in town, starring Tootsie Laverne and her 30 raving beauties. A new show just started. Only 40 cents. Ticket, mister?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
40 cents. Thank you, sir. A new show just started. Hurry, ladies and gentlemen. It's the greatest little show in town.
You're doing great, Mike. Those dicks will follow you in, but you won't be there, will you? No. You're heading for that exit sign down at the side. Through the curtain. Push out through the door, and there you are. In the alley. And free. Okay. Now, up to the street. Lose yourself in the crowd. Turn down Fifth toward the store. You're okay now. No need to look back. Or is there? They're there. You didn't shake them after all. They were wise to that trick, and they were waiting for you outside the theater. Yes, you should have known. Now what? Maybe you've got an idea. Yes. A good idea. A honey. Why not lead them to the store? Sure, that's where they expect you to go. But beat them there and hide, down in the freight dock, behind one of those big crates. They'll never find you in that mess. Then when they get tired looking, you'll be able to slip in and do the job. How's that? Brilliant. Yes, brilliant. Yes, here's the store. And there they are, a quarter of a block behind. When you hit the alley, you'll run for it. Make a dash back to the back. And you'll be so far ahead then, they won't know whether you got in or not. And you'll fool them entirely. You'll have them searching the whole store. Okay, here it is. Okay, you made it. You left them way behind. Here's the freight dock.
Okay. Come on, coppers. Just try and find me in here.
Found it. Now we've left. I told you knew we were following him.
Sure. But let's not waste time. We had plenty of time to get in. Probably with the employee's key.
Okay. Get out your skeleton and let's go in after him.
Worked like a charm, didn't it, Mike? You're sitting here in your crate, comfortably waiting, while they search the entire store. They've been there long enough to do it. It's almost 1. If they don't hurry, you'll have Gus to worry about. Not that that's too much of a worry. But wait, hold it.
Well, that does it.
Yeah, too bad. Hey, flash your lighter on. You could have ducked into one of these crates here.
Yeah, but we never find him in that mess. He could play hide and seek with us there for days.
Yeah, you're right. I guess we might as well call it a day. It's a fine way to spend Christmas Eve anyway. Come on, let's go home.
Okay, I'm right beside you.
Well, Mike, Merry Christmas. This is better than you expected. They're leaving, actually going away, leaving the place to your tender mercies. You won't have to dodge them coming out. They aren't going to camp out in Humboldt's office. They're actually walking away, down the alley, and you're set.
Good Lord, the music box. Something's wrong. It's going. I can't stop. I can't.
Hey, Joe, listen.
Yeah, I hear it. Come on, right over here.
I've got to stop it. I got it.
Okay, right here. In this crate.
Too late.
Okay, Cobb. We finally cornered you. Come on out.
No use hiding in there now, Cab. Come on. We want to talk to you.
Yeah, I know. I got the idea. Okay, you got me.
Yeah. Thanks for the music. Led us right to the dance floor.
Yeah, that's the great reward the minister was talking about. Great.
I don't get you.
Oh, you wouldn't. It's a private little joke on me.
Yeah? Well, that music maybe did you a big favor, Cobb.
Favor?
That's right. Maybe you'll see what I mean if you'll answer a few questions for us.
I don't see why I should.
You got nothing to be afraid of, kid, if you'll just answer a couple of questions straight.
I'll answer one. I didn't do it. I had nothing to do with it.
Okay. You had nothing to do with it. We didn't ask you that question. But answer this. You brought that music box to the store on 10th Avenue a while ago, didn't you?
You know I did. You saw me buy it.
And you paid for it with 2 20s and a 10,
yeah.
right? Well, part of that money was marked. It was money that had been stolen from Deaver's department store.
I said it wasn't stolen. That was the dough. I got my pay envelope.
All of it? Didn't somebody else give you part of it?
No, I just earned the whole thing.
Didn't George Osborne give you part of it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did.
Oh.
He paid me $30 he owed.
Okay. Now, this is very important. How'd Osborne pay you? In what denomination of bills?
Well, Yeah, I remember. He gave me 3 tens.
Tens? You're sure?
Sure, I'm sure.
And the 20s came to you in your pay envelope, huh?
Yeah.
You'll swear to that in court?
Of course.
Okay. That does it. Thanks, Carl.
Hey, wait. You mean that's all you wanted me for?
It was enough. You just proved for us who stole that 10 grand from the store. And the way you were acting, we'd almost thought it was you. We hadn't have known better all the time.
But that's not the end of the story. The Whistler will bring it to you in just a moment. Meantime, Signal Oil Company joins with 1,800 Signal gasoline dealers throughout the West from Canada to Mexico in hoping that this has been a good Christmas for you. It wasn't the Christmas we had all hoped and prayed for. There were too many empty places at the table, too many empty places in our hearts. As we look back, we may wonder if perhaps we didn't give quite enough. Not quite enough of our effort, of our money, and of our blood, which can mean life itself to a boy at the front. Yet even the regrets that may tinge this season's gladness can prove its greatest blessing if they fire us to new determination, to new and greater effort through the coming year until our prayers are finally answered and peace again returns to heal this confused and torn world. Yes, if, as this Christmas of 1944 draws to a close, we will rededicate ourselves to this, our job, we may, each of us, hasten the realization of that ancient promise, peace on earth, goodwill toward men. And now, back to the Whistler.
Well, quite surprising, isn't it? The police didn't suspect Mike at all. You see, it was this way. Because of his record, the cops began to tail Mike in the very beginning, when the money first began to be missed. Twice they had him under observation at the very time the money was stolen, so they knew he didn't do it. But they kept watching him in the hope he would lead them to the real thief, and he did. Yes, because when things got hot, the thief finally tried to frame Mike by giving him some of the stolen money. Marked money this time. George Osborne? Oh, no. In fact, Osborne almost gummed things up by paying his debts. The detectives hadn't counted on that. That's why they had to be sure which bills Osborne gave Mike. The 10s weren't marked. The 20s were. The 20s Mike got in his pay envelope from Humboldt. Yes, Henry Humboldt, the office manager. You see, things were getting too hot for him. The trail was getting too close. He knew the money was marked, and he knew the detectives were watching Mike. So he gave him some of the marked bills in his severance pay, trying to frame him. It couldn't have worked, of course, but Humboldt didn't know that, and neither did Mike. And Mike almost did something he'd regretted all his life. He almost went back to a life of crime. Yes, if the music box hadn't have jammed and started playing just when it did, and the detectives had gone off, Mike's life would have gone down the skids. Because it did play when it did. Well, next week he'll be back at the store in a better job. Yes, and he got a Christmas bonus, too. They saw to that after Humboldt was arrested. And all because the music box played. Maybe that's why Mike said...
No, sir. That music box sits right there on the table where everybody can see it.
Darling, I really think it means as much to you as it does to me.
Oh, I guess maybe it does, Elaine. Just like the Reverend Hewitt says, a little good brings a great reward. Yeah. For the rest of my life, that little gadget's going to mean a Merry Christmas. Darling, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Mike.
Next Monday at 9 o'clock, the Signal Oil program will bring you another strange tale by the Whistler. The Signal Oil program is broadcast for your entertainment by the Signal Oil Company, marketers of Signal's famous Go Farther gasoline and motor oil, and by your neighborhood Signal Oil dealer, who is at your service daily to keep your car running for the duration. The Signal Oil program, produced by George W. Allen, with music by Wilbur Hatch, is transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. Bob Anderson speaking for your friend, the Signal Oil Company, and suggesting once again that you let every go signal remind you that you do go farther with Signal gasoline. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is Orson Welles, speaking from London. The Black Museum. Here, in the grim stone structure on the Thames, which houses Scotland Yard, is a warehouse of homicide. A warehouse where everyday objects, a woman's necklace, her pair of spectacles, an iron ladle, all are touched by murder. These small white boxes, they're familiar objects. They might have contained sleeping pills or a mild sedative or just aspirin. But no, they contained
arsenic. Comparatively tasteless, isn't it, Inspector?
Yes, sir. The murderer counted on that.
Obviously. Nasty way to die. And the boxes, they look so, well, innocent.
Today, those white boxes can be seen in a place of special honor, in the Black Museum.
From the annals of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Police, we bring you the dramatic stories of the crimes recorded by the objects in Scotland Yard's Gallery of Death, the Black Museum. In just a moment, you will hear The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles. Now, The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles.
And here we are, Black Museum, Scotland Yard's mausoleum of murder. Perhaps a little courage to wander through this long, ghostly room. All around, arranged so very neatly, is the evidence of man's rages, of woman's cruelty, of the rogue beast who lies waiting just beneath the veneer of civilization, waiting to kill. Yes, here lies death. Here death seems deliberate, murder almost moderate. Here in the echoing quiet, one is a spectator amid an orgy of violence, expressed so calmly by ordinary objects. The filing spike was created for the piercing of papers, to maintain orderliness on a clerk's desk, not for the purpose to which this spike was put. The piercing of the neck, the base of the skull, of the brain conjoins with the spinal column. Here we are. The white boxes, a little bit yellowed with age. The neat, spidery penmanship on the tiny labels fading now. But still legible. Curry's Pharmacy, Glasgow, Scotland, they say. And the date? January 1857. They were certain they had a case. The prosecutor for the Crown. Procurator Fiscal, they call it. And the quiet man in charge of homicide, Inspector Webster. The prosecutor was quite definite about it.
We'll have no trouble at all. It'll be a hanging. There seems to be plenty of evidence. You sound doubtful, Inspector. Juries can be emotional, you know. When that happens, the evidence goes out of the window.
Juries haven't changed much. Almost 100 years, have they? But rather, in the old tradition, let the guilty go free occasionally than have one innocent perish. They presented their case. In proper order, each fact, large or small, in sequence, was paraded before the 12 good Scotsmen who sat in the jury box there in Glasgow almost 100 years ago. First there was the landlady, Émile Dangeret's landlady. She told of that summer evening in 1856.
Why, Mr. Dangelier, you're dressed up this evening.
A reason, a very lovely reason. Do you like my waistcoat, madame?
Quite striking. You ought to catch a lady's eye.
I trust it will. Do just that, madame.
How do you do it? Dress the fashionable on your salary, Mr. Dangelier.
That is something I have learned from the frugal Scots, madame. I have indeed. You will excuse me. I must catch the steamer to Rowling and the garden by moonlight.
A happy little man, that summer's evening, Émile Dangelet. A happy, strutting little man in his new waistcoat, his well-pressed jacket, his smart hat. On the way to the quay to board the side-wheel steamer, he met his friend, Robert Dougal. Mr. Dougal was a witness, too. His story was just as simple.
Emil, how are you? As if I needed to ask. You are the sport this evening.
Thank you, Robert. You look well yourself.
Don't tell me if you don't want to, but I'll wager you have a rendezvous.
I do. And you know, you introduced us.
With Madeline? Madeline Smith?
No other, my friend.
But the Smiths are Drowallen. Then you've met the family?
Not yet, Robert. But very soon. Tonight, just Madeleine. How long after tonight should I have to wait for the family to accept me?
How long, little man? How long indeed? That was a good part of the problem. Robert Dougal was temporarily excused from the witness box. The next witness was a letter. A letter which tried to recapture on paper the wonder of a summer night of young love.
Oh, Emil. Oh, my darling.
Madeleine, my love.
Whisper, sweet. They are not asleep yet.
How can I whisper when my heart wishes to shout from the housetops?
Emil, you're sweet.
My darling, is this not a night for lovers?
Come, darling. There is a quiet place, I know, where the moon will be reflected in the water, and no one will be near. Don't let the gate bang, darling. We don't want my father finding us now.
A garden gate shut softly, and footsteps, a man and a woman, fade away into the sounds of the night. It would be nice if we could leave the story here, but we can't. Nor could the prosecutor. There were more letters, many, many more, written by both young people. Letters which detailed the progress of the summer and of the love affair.
Madeleine, your return will coincide with the opening of a social season. You will go to all the dances, all the parties, but without me at your side. I cannot stand to picture this, even to myself. Madeleine, let me be your husband in truth. I cannot.
Have faith in me. Have I not proven my love? Oh, Emil, the tears which bathe this paper, they are tears of longing, longing to be with you.
There was more, much more. It all seemed endless, eternal, like the love these two pledged each other. But August moved into September, and September into the fall. Present, as the prosecutor didn't fail to point out, the social round swept over Glasgow and over the Smith family, of course. Madeline was caught in a whirl with her family. Here, Robert Dugo was recalled to the witness box. This part of his evidence, if evidence it was, held a touch of wistfulness, of pathos even.
Do you think this is the proper place to stand, Robert?
Not proper, but correct for our purpose. They'll have to pass this way.
There's quite a crowd, is there not?
The public dances of the Glasgow season are always crowded. They say more matches are made at these affairs.
Do not say that, my friend. This is my great fear, that she will meet someone.
But she loves you.
What am I? A 10-shilling packing clerk. I am nothing. Her family do not even know I exist. Where are they? Has something happened? I must...
He stood there, on the stairway leading to the ballroom, waiting so impatiently. The little man in the fancy waistcoat, beneath which was so much pride and so much love. And then, at long last, he saw her alight on her father's arm from their carriage, start up the stairway.
She's a princess, is she not, Robert?
She's a very pretty girl. But then, I'm not in love with her.
I will speak to her.
No, you mustn't. Not here.
Madeleine.
Miss Smith, no, it would be unforgivable. Don't embarrass her like this.
She passed within arm's length and seemed not to notice him, standing there waiting so eagerly for the acknowledgement which never came. Shortly afterwards, the two young men went into the ballroom themselves. Emile saw his Madeline whirling in the waltz, heard her laughter.
Why, Mr. Miller, I cannot allow you to speak to me like that. My father would listen.
Robert, this is what I have nightmares over.
Patience, Emil, patience.
That is what she says. Patience, Emile, patience.
She's going into the conservatory. Quicker now.
Do I dare?
What, didn't you see? She looked at you, pointed with her fan.
Wait for me, Robert.
With pleasure, my friend.
Emil, here, behind the arbor.
Madeleine, oh, my dear.
You shouldn't have come. Yet I'm glad you're here.
If I could have only but one dance with you.
Impossible, darling. My father noticed you on the steps. I told him it was Robert who spoke my name. I don't think he believes me.
Let him know me. I am not ashamed of what I do. I will not be a clerk forever.
Not now, not tonight. I must be quick. They will be missing me. Darling, tomorrow night, come to the house. You know my window on the ground floor with the railing. We will talk about it then. Tomorrow, after the family is asleep.
The ground floor window, where the cat bars keep out cats. Or was it young lovers? A strong, if decorative grill. There was an area entrance. According to letters offered clearly in evidence, Emile was admitted via the area entrance to the gracious old house in Glasgow.
Madeleine. Oh, Madeleine.
Quickly, darling. In here, my sitting room. Here we are. We must be very quiet. My elder sister is just above, and my father sleeps very lightly.
Madeleine, when? When?
I must await the proper moment.
And in the meantime, must I come to the area entrance in the dark of night, sneaking like a thief? I did not steal your love. You gave it, darling. You gave it.
What I gave, I can take back.
No, you cannot.
Oh, of course not, dear. And we must not quarrel either. Our summer was too lovely for us to spoil it now. I have made some tea, my dear. It must be cold outside. Shall we have tea together and pretend we are the happy married couple we want to be?
Of course, darling. Of course, whatever you say. Only let us be
It was a domestic scene. How the letters reveled in it. Charming, delightful. Two young people pretending marriage and staid middle age. And then, in due course and in proper chronological order, the prosecutor introduced Mr. Curry, owner and chief dispenser at Curry's Glasgow Pharmacy.
Yes, the defendant. It was the defendant there in the prisoner's box who bought the arsenic from me. I was told it was for the destruction of weeds and rats.
The destruction of weeds and rats. Well, be that as it may, today those little white boxes can be found in the Black Museum.
In just a moment, we will continue with The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles. And now we continue with The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles.
White is the bride's color, they say. In China, white is the color of mourning. Perhaps white was the right color for the little boxes in the Black Museum. The evidence continued. There was the stolid, honest police constable. He had a simple, sad little tale to tell. It began with a sound such as children make when they play with sticks on an iron rail. But this was not a child. This was a lover calling to his love. While the onlookers were a policeman and death.
For heaven's sake, you wake the family.
I had to see you, darling. I had to.
I told you, Emil, I could not see you tonight.
What? Was he here again?
Was who here again?
You know whom I mean. Let me knock.
Since you mentioned it, yes, he was.
So you could not see me?
We must be discreet, darling. It's perfect camouflage. Father likes Mr. Minner. As long as Father thinks I pay attention to Mr. Minner, he will not suspect that I am in love with anyone else.
Are you in love with me, Madeleine?
Emil, how can you ask that?
Forgive me. Forgive me, my darling. At the time, I do not know what I am doing or saying. Here it is November. The summer seems so far away.
Yes, the summer. Emil, go home. I cannot let you in tonight.
Madeleine, to stand here, talking through bars.
Oh, you'll catch your death of cold. Glasgow in November. Damp, almost bitter. Oh, please go home, Emil, where you'll be warm and safe. I'm chilly standing here.
No, not until I have held you in my arms once more.
Emil, stop it. It's so late, so cold.
Yes, cold. And almost bitter.
Good night, Emil.
Madeleine! Madeleine! You can't! You mustn't! Madeleine! I'll find a way. We will go off to South America. We will get away. Madeleine, listen to me.
Here, you. What's all this?
It's nothing, Constable.
This is near the time to be rattling windy grits. It's much too cold for serenading, you know.
You do not understand.
Oh, don't I? I was young myself, not so long ago. Now, on your way, young fella. Mr. Smith is a good friend of mine. I'll no have lovesick boys disturbing his daughters this time of night. Up with you now. Get on your hoose. Understand, little man? I'm telling you to move along.
Yes, Constable. I understand.
But did he understand? Did Émile Dargelet understand that this was the beginning of the end? That the summer was over and forever? Perhaps. Perhaps not. Perhaps he wouldn't let himself understand. However, this is all conjecture. The prosecutor was concerned with facts in their proper order. And so his next piece of evidence was a letter.
In view of what appears to be the termination of our affair of the heart, will you be gentleman enough to return my letters to me at once, together with my portrait? I flatter myself you have not destroyed either my picture or the missives I sent you while we felt more tenderly towards each other.
There was no answer. Madeline tried another approach.
Once we meant something to each other. I trust those moments are not unhappy memories. If they are happy at all, will you honor their memory by returning my letters and the miniature I gave you?
Still no answer. Emil brooded in his room, on his job. And then suddenly there was a change. The prosecutor brought this to the attention of the jury by recalling Emil's landlady to the witness box. She told an interesting story.
Well, Mr. Dongelier, you haven't stopped at my pier glass in a long time.
I have had no reason to until tonight.
Oh, a lady?
Yes, a lady.
With a warm heart and your smile.
With a warmer heart than she has shown in some time.
I see. You're a faithful person, aren't you?
I have always hoped I could be.
You're not looking very well. I expect to see you improve in health, Mr. Dongelier, as you improve the problems of your heart.
Thank you, madame. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you will excuse me, I must not be late tonight.
I must not be late tonight, he said. Yes, tonight of all nights, he must not be late. Jauntily, the little packing clerk left the house where he lived in his furnished room. There was no record, no witness, the prosecutor admitted, of what went on that night between the jaunty Emile and the beautiful Madeline. But the landlady had more to say. And what she had to add was a tale which was neither jaunty nor beautiful.
Mr. Dongelier, are you ill? What's wrong? Do you want a doctor? Can I help you? Mr. Dongelier. Mr. Dongelier. Mr. Dongelier, what is it? You look as if you'd crawled home on your hands and knees.
Yes, I did. The last block. The pain. I cannot stand the pain.
I shall call a doctor. You're sick. You're very sick. You must have a doctor.
The good woman hurried up the street, aroused the doctor, whose surgery was in the corner, and together they hurried back and up the stairs to the little man's shabby room.
What is it, Mom? Where's your pain?
Leave me alone. I want to die.
Good heavens. Mr. Dongelier.
You will die unless you help me yourself. Madam, have you any mustard in the house?
Mustard? Whatever for?
An emetic. This man has been poisoned. Quickly now.
Oh, yes, of course. I must have some somewhere.
They did their best, the doctor and the landlady. But their best was to no avail.
He's gone. A bad end. My guess is arsenic. It'll take an autopsy to find out for certain. However, now it's the turn of the police.
The police, in the person of Inspector Webster, gave testimony at the trial.
Inspector, tell the jury what the medical stated. Death caused by a large quantity of arsenic taken by mouth, probably in tea. And what did you find in a small wooden chest in the victim's room, Inspector? A packet of letters in perfect chronological order from the prisoner to the deceased. Thank you, Inspector. One thing more. Did you arrest the prisoner? I did. Did you warn her that anything she might say could be used in evidence against her? I did. And what did she say? Too bad. He was a nice little man. If he hadn't been so persistent, I might have liked him better.
Thank you again, Inspector.
There was more, a little more. Mr. Curry, the pharmacist, was called back to the witness box.
How many times did the defendant come to your shop, sir?
3 times. Each time she bought 6 pennyworth of arsenic.
And what reasons did she give for these purchases?
First, it was killing weeds in the back garden. Then it was rats at the Smith's country place. And finally, rats at their city house.
Did anyone else connected with the defendant ever stop in your shop?
A servant. One of the men servants from the Smith's house. He asked for prussic acid to heighten the defendant's hands, he said. I told him nice young lady shouldn't have poison like that around. I refused to sell it to him. She came for the arsenic herself about 2 weeks later.
The defense made 2 points. The sweetness and the excellent background of the prisoner. The fact that no one found any evidence that the poison had been administered by the prisoner. No one saw her do it was the friend. The judge made the usual charge. The jury retired. They returned to a tense courtroom. Madam Smith rose at the court's command and faced the jury. The foreman spoke briefly and to the point.
We find the case for the Crown not proven. Our verdict is not guilty.
So ended the trial of Madeline Smith. Were the jury right? We shall never know. History is as silent as the little white boxes which lie upon a shelf in their customary place in the Black Museum.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The Mysterious Traveler. Written, produced, and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Cogan, and starring tonight 2 stars of stage and radio, Wendell Holmes and Roger DeCoven, in an original radio drama titled The Man Who Vanished.
This is the Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable, if you can, as you hear the story I call The Man Who Vanished. Our story begins in a small, white-walled hospital room. Charles Ordway, a man of 45, has just awakened. He looks about him in puzzlement. Then memory returns to him, and he begins to call frantically.
Doctor! Doctor, nurse! Where are you? I must speak to the doctor!
Yes, Mr. Ordway, what is it?
Are you the doctor?
No, sir, I'm only the attendant. You want to speak to Dr. Harvey?
Yes, I must. It's a matter of life and death.
Okay, Mr. Ordway, okay. Dr. Harvey, 402, please. He's coming now.
Thank you. Tell me what day is this? It's Friday, isn't it? It must be Friday.
Sure. It's Friday, Mr. Ordway. Here's Dr. Harvey.
Good morning, Mr. Ordway. You wanted to speak to me?
Yes, doctor, but tell me quickly, what time is it?
It's just 10 minutes past 10, Mr. Ordway.
Oh, thank heavens, my brother John isn't dead. There's still time to save him.
Your brother?
Yes, doctor, when I woke up, I didn't know how long it was since I was brought here to the hospital and drugged into silence, but I don't suppose they told you about John.
No, I'm afraid they didn't.
Well, then I'll tell you. I'll make you believe me. John's safe for several hours yet, so I can tell you the whole story. The story they wouldn't give me a chance to tell.
Yes, go right ahead, Mr. Ordway. I'll just sit here and make myself comfortable.
Well, I'll try to tell it calmly, Doctor. I don't want you to think I'm hysterical. First of all, you have to understand that my brother John is a freak of nature.
A freak?
Yes. He's perfectly healthy and highly intelligent, but he was born without any natural coloring at all. His eyes are pink. His skin is a chalk white. His hair is like bleached flax. His eyebrows and lashes are practically invisible.
It's a most unusual condition, but it happens once in a while. It's called albinism.
Well, it's a hideous condition for an intelligent, sensitive man. John's boyhood was a torture for him until our father took us both out of school and had us tutored to spare John the misery of being considered a freak of nature by the other children.
Yes, I understand, Mr. Otway. Please, go on.
Well, as we grew up, John's chief interest was science. So I studied it, too. Our father had a complete laboratory built in our home. After his death, we continued to live there together, working on experimental research.
Along what lines, Mr. Otway?
Well, our efforts were centered on discovering a cure for John's condition. To achieve that, we worked hopefully for years, but we always failed. My brother remained outwardly calm, but inwardly he began to brood. Then, one evening, he came into my room.
Charles.
Oh, yes, John. Finished in the lab?
In a way, Charles. I have something to show you.
Show me? You mean you found a cure?
Not exactly. Look at this wire cage. Examine the white rat I have in it.
White rat? Good heavens.
This morning, that was an ordinary white rat. But now, look at it.
It's like a rat made out of glass. It's almost transparent.
It is transparent. You can see completely through it.
Oh, John, this is amazing.
This is what I've been working on these last months, Charles. I've been developing a serum that would alter living tissues to make them transparent.
I wouldn't have believed it possible.
I don't see why not. Nature does it all the time. She makes jellyfish that are quite transparent.
Well, yes, of course. I didn't think.
But this is only the first step. My next step is to develop the serum further, to make living tissues invisible.
Invisible?
You look skeptical, my dear Charles. But look at this rat. He's half invisible already. In a dim light, he'd vanish.
Yes, that's true, but...
The basic principle is perfectly natural, Charles. It's only a matter of refining it. And then, Charles, well, take a freak like myself. So colorless, he's already well started toward invisibility. I'll find out what it's like to be completely unseen. Someday soon, Charles, I'm going to have a real surprise for you.
That was my first introduction to John's experiments. After that, for many weeks, he worked in secret. Then one morning, he called me into the laboratory and showed me a cage that seemed to be empty, but there was something stirring about it, a rat. An invisible rat. To the touch, it was warm and furry, filled with life. But to the eye, if the light was not too bright, it was nothing.
Well, Charles, convinced now?
Yes, I'm convinced. You succeeded, John.
Not quite. I haven't made myself invisible yet.
You're not going to try your serum on yourself.
Of course I am. Listen, Charles. Always I've been considered a freak. Now I'm going to turn the tables. I'll mingle with people and I'll laugh at them. I'll be their superior, able to come and go without their knowledge. Able to control their very destinies if I wish.
John, that's madness.
On the contrary, it's scientific fact. You'll see because you're going to help me.
No, I refuse.
You're not going to let me down, your own brother.
Of course, John.
I knew I can get your help. Here's a hypodermic for the serum. All I want you to do is to inject it into my arm. And watch the result.
I tried to refuse, but John wouldn't let me. At last, I gave in. I injected the colorless serum into his veins. At first, nothing happened. As we waited, he removed his garments, for, of course, the serum could only affect his living tissues. Finally, the change came. His skin became paler and paler, until suddenly I realized I was looking not at it, but through it. After that, the change was rapid. His body seemed to fade away before my eyes into nothingness.
Well, Charles, what do you say now?
Oh, John, this frightens me.
Why, sure did. I feel fine. In fact, I feel so good I'm going to take a little jaunt downtown to see how the world looks to a man who's invisible.
No, you mustn't.
And why not, Charles?
Well, you aren't ready for it yet. There may be after effects, reactions you aren't prepared for.
Ah, nonsense. There's only one thing to be careful of. The tissues must return to normal within 24 hours. If the neutralizing serum isn't injected before then, death occurs. Otherwise, it's perfectly safe. So I insist, Charles, that I'm going on a little invisible sightseeing tour tonight, and you're going to conduct me.
Again, I tried to say no, but John was insistent. At last I gave in. His was always the stronger will. We took the car, and I drove downtown. He sat beside me, unseen as the very air, laughing to himself. John, let's turn back now.
Turn back, I should say not. Drive to Main Street and park around the corner from the Watson Jewelry Store. The one where our old schoolboy companion, Harry Watson, works for his father.
Well, why, John?
Because I'm going to try an interesting little experiment. That's why.
John was in a strange mood, and I obeyed his orders with misgivings. I parked the car as he directed, and we got out and stood on the sidewalk, with the evening crowd drifting past us, completely unaware of John at my side. Suddenly, John spoke.
Now's the time, Charles. There's nobody in the store but Harry Watson himself. Come on, we're going in. Ask Harry to show you some stopwatches. Keep him occupied, and don't worry about me.
Well, what are you going to do?
Never mind. Just do as I say. Whatever happens, pretend not to notice. Come on. Open the door.
Oh, hello, Charles. Can I help you?
Well, I'd like to look at a stopwatch, Harry.
Stopwatch? Of course. They're over here. Here's a beauty, Charles. This Swiss chronograph is timed to 1/100th of a second.
I'm afraid it'd be too expensive.
Huh? Well, perhaps you'd like this one. It's American made, and it... What is that?
What was what?
I heard a noise in the back of the store.
I didn't hear anything.
There it is again. There's someone back there.
But there can't be. There's nothing in sight.
Just the same, I think there's someone back there. Excuse me. I was putting away some valuable diamonds when you come in, and I've got to see about them.
He hurried back into the shadowy rear of the store. I held my breath. He should bump into John. Then I heard Watson cry out.
I've got you, thief. No, you're not going to get away. What are you doing? Help! Charles, help me! Help!
John! John, what's happened?
Come on, quickly. We have to get out of here.
Oh, what happened?
The fool bumped into me in the shadows. He was so excited he didn't even realize he couldn't see me. I used a paper knife I picked up and taught him a little lesson.
Oh, he's not dead.
Come on, we got to get out of here. Someone may have heard him.
We got out of the store and to the car. As I drove home, John refused to answer any of my frantic questions. When we reached the house, he hurried me into the laboratory.
You got to give me the neutralizer or make me visible again, Charles.
John!
No questions. Here we are. Here's the hypodermic. You've got to inject it. Here's the mark from the previous injection. Now go ahead.
I pressed the plunger. The drug flowed into his blood. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, like a man materializing out of nothingness, he grew visible. A misty figure that took on solidity until it was a man. John gave a little gasp of weariness and pushed me out of the room.
Now go on, Charles. You get to bed. I need some sleep. This stuff seems to drain away my energy. We'll talk in the morning. Pleasant dreams.
The next morning, I was having breakfast when John finally appeared.
Good morning, Charles. Sleep well?
John, look at this newspaper.
Anything in it?
Yes, there's something in it. Look at these headlines.
I see. Local jeweler killed, store up, $50,000 worth of diamonds missing. Oh.
You killed Harry last night.
Yeah, so it seems. Pour me some coffee, will you?
John, I don't understand you. You've killed a man, and you act as if it amounted no more than swatting a fly.
Well, does it?
Of course it does.
I can't feel that way about it. When we were small boys, you remember that Harry Watson was one of my chief tormentors.
Yes.
I've always planned to pay him back. Last night I decided to play a little joke on him.
Murder is hardly a joke.
I didn't intend to kill the fool. I just meant to make away with one or two of his father's diamonds. After Harry had had a chance to explain their disappearance, I was going to mail them back.
Yes, the diamonds. The paper says $50,000 worth of missing.
Oh, probably an exaggeration. However, put your hand into your left coat pocket, Charles.
What? What? A dozen loose diamonds here.
Yes, I put them there last night. I couldn't very well carry them myself.
We must send them back at once.
Well, I'm afraid that might involve us somehow. No, we'll have to keep them.
John, what's happened to you? Overnight you've become a monster, able to dismiss the worst of crimes with a shrug.
Please understand this, Charles. For years I was an object of curiosity. I even had offers to appear in sideshows. Now the tables are turned. I can walk among men, unseen, invisible. That gives me a power that is very sweet to me. I haven't decided yet how I shall use it. But in any case, I won't have you interfering. Is that clear, Charles?
With that, John retired to his laboratory and remained there alone the rest of the day. It wasn't until after dark that he emerged to find me staring with horror at the evening paper.
Oh, Charles, what does the paper say? It made you look so pale.
The police found your fingerprints on the knife that killed Harry Watson.
What? Let me see it.
Here.
The police investigating the murder last night of Harry Watson, local jeweler's son, state they are trying to trace down fingerprints found on the paper knife used as the death weapon. They also admit they have discovered further evidence which they hope may bring about an early arrest.
They may be here any minute.
Ah, nonsense. Even if I did leave a print, how can they trace it to me? Talk of an early arrest is just bluff. And besides,
That may be the police now. If it is, what do we do?
Oh, it can't be. But if it is, let them in. Let me do the talking.
All right. Yes, what is it?
Mr. Charles Ordway?
Yes, I'm Charles Ordway.
I'm Inspector Long of the Homicide Squad. I'd like to ask you some questions, if you don't mind.
Well, no, not at all. Come in. We can talk in the living room.
What is it, Charles?
John, this is Inspector Long. He says he wants to ask me some questions.
Really? What in the world about?
I don't know. I confess, Inspector, I can't imagine
I want to ask you what you can tell me about the death of Harry Watson.
Watson the jeweler? The one we were reading about in the paper?
That's the one. Your brother was seen leaving the jewelry store a few minutes before Watson's body was found. Someone recognized him.
Why, that's true, Inspector. Charles dropped in last night to buy a watch for me. But he didn't find quite what I wanted.
I'd rather hear him tell it.
Well, that's all there is to it. I looked at the watches and then left. Watson was all right when I left.
I see. There's no one else in the store?
No one I could see. I'm sorry, I can't tell you more.
I'm sorry, too. Well, just for the sake of helping us, would you be willing to let me take your fingerprints?
Well, of course you don't mind, Charles. You're thinking of the prints the paper says were found on the death weapon, aren't you, Inspector?
Frankly, yes.
Well, they aren't, Charles. I can assure you.
It's just a check. Hey, Mr. Ordway, if you'll just press your fingerprints against this delicate plate I have in this envelope. That's fine. Thank you.
You wouldn't want mine, too, I suppose?
Well, if you'd like to add yours to your brother's.
Well, I was just joking. By the way, Inspector, how do you go about tracing down unknown fingerprints such as those of this killer?
Well, this is one way, and excuse me, cigarette?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're asking how we check fingerprints. Well, we have several methods. The FBI records, the Army and Navy records, and the one source few people know about.
And what's that?
Hospital birth records. For a number of years now, they've recorded the footprints and fingerprints of every baby born in this city. In the morning, we'll start checking these records as far back as they go.
Well, that's very interesting. Well, sorry, Inspector, we couldn't be more helpful.
It's all in the game. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, Inspector.
Now, don't bother to show me up.
Did you hear that? They're going to start checking fingerprints on hospital birth records. And our prints were among the first ever to be recorded in this town. Father insisted.
Perhaps they'll overlook yours.
I can't risk it. But I'll stop them. I'll stop them somehow.
Without explaining, he hurried into the laboratory. 10 minutes later, he emerged, dressed to go out. His hat pulled well down over his face. And his face...
What is it? Why are you goggling at me?
Your face? I can't see it, or your hands either.
Of course not. I took an injection of transparency serum. Now, I'm going to drive downtown, Charles. With this coat and hat on, I'll look like an ordinary driver to anyone who sees the car. When I get where I'm going, I'll take off these garments and leave them in the car. Then no one on Earth will be able to see me.
But where are you going?
To police headquarters.
With that, John left. I heard him drive off. Then I could do nothing but wait. The hours crawled slowly past, and I grew more and more nervous. The clock was striking 11 when I heard John's key in the door at last. John, is that you?
Yes, Charles, come here. I need you.
What is it? What's happened?
It's my ankle. I think it's broken.
Here, lean on me. I'll help you into the living room.
Yeah.
Oh, careful. Oh, John, your coat's all bloody.
Yes, they shot at me. Nicked my side. It's not serious, Charles. Here, let me sit down.
Shall I call a doctor?
No. We'll tend to the bullet scratch in the ankle ourselves. It's a reasonable price to pay, considering that Inspector Long is dead.
Dead?
Yes, he fell from the window of his office on the 6th floor of police headquarters, while apparently quite alone in the room.
And you killed him, too?
Of course I did. I had to. Luckily, he had the paper knife there in his office. I was able to wipe all my prints off it. I found the photographs of the prints in his desk, too. I tore those up and I burned them.
How'd you get hurt?
I tried to slip out of the building again during the confusion that followed Inspector Long's accident. I'd reached the first floor when a clumsy cop bumped into me in a dark hall. He yelled and grabbed at me. I had to duck through a door and lock it. I got the window up and was just climbing out when he fired to the door. The bullet nicked me. I lost my balance. When I picked myself up off the ground, my ankle was broken. But I hobbled to the car somehow and, well, here I am.
John, what are we going to do?
Just sit tight, that's all. The evidence is destroyed. Inspector Long is gone. We're perfectly safe.
But suppose they have some other clue.
Nonsense. I've taken care of everything, you hear? What is it, Charles?
The car just stopped in front of the house.
Car? See who it is.
Yes. The police car.
Oh, I gotta act fast. They mustn't find me like this.
What can you do?
First, I've got to get these clothes off. I haven't time to take my neutralizing serum now. I'll just have to hide. They'll not find me if they can't see.
Oh, John, you're ill.
I feel weak. It's a loss of blood. It's nothing serious, Charles. But I may faint. If I do...
Yes, John?
I hide my clothes in the kitchen hamper. Yes. Then carry me down to the cellar. Put me in the empty storage room. Lay me on the Excelsior there. Now, if they look in, they'll see it's empty. They won't go stumbling around. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear. But, John, He fainted in my arms. I had no time to think. Swiftly, I did as he had instructed. I carried him down to the small storage room in the cellar, placed him on some Excelsior in a corner, and hurried back upstairs. Already the police were pounding on the door. I jammed John's bloody clothes into the kitchen hamper, and then I hurried to the door. Yes, what is it?
The police, Mr. Andre. We're coming in. Bill, Gerald, come on.
Yes, Captain.
The rest of you watch the house and see that no one leaves.
Well, what is the meaning of this? I demand an explanation.
And you'll get it. Now, where can we talk? In here? Good. All right, please sit down, Mr. Ordway. I'm Detective Captain Belden. My chief, Inspector Long, was here earlier.
Yes, I know, and I answered all his questions then.
Well, now I'm asking more questions. Long's dead.
Inspector Long dead? But even so,
Listen,
why?
Ordway. Long smelled a rottenness set up someplace, and earlier tonight, when he got your fingerprints, he also got your brother's.
But he didn't.
He got them on his cigarette case when your brother took a cigarette. It's an old trick. After he died tonight, we found the case in his pocket, carefully wrapped.
Well, what of it?
In some mysterious way, all the pictures of the murder prints we took off the paper knife that killed Watson had vanished. But we had the negatives. We made new prints and discovered they checked with your brother's prints on Long's cigarette case. Ordway, your brother killed Harry Watson last night.
That's completely ridiculous.
Is it? Okay, we'll see. Where's your brother now?
Why, he's not here. He went away on trip.
Hiding, huh? Bill, Joe?
Yes,
Search the house from cellar to attic. Don't miss a thing.
Right here, Captain. Come on, Joe.
Half an hour later, I knew that further concealment was impossible. The police had not found John, but they had found the blood-stained clothes he had discarded. And in my desk, they had found the diamonds which John had stolen. I knew then I must tell the truth.
Well, Ordway, ready to talk yet?
Yes, I'm ready to talk, Captain. My brother did kill Watson.
Okay. Where is he now?
He's hiding down in the cellar.
Captain, that's the monarchy. We looked in the cellar. He ain't there.
Of course you didn't see him. He's invisible.
He's what?
He's invisible, I said.
You say your brother is invisible?
Yes, that's why they couldn't see him.
Ordway, you know what I think? I think you killed your brother in a quarrel over these diamonds and buried his body in the yard someplace. That's how these clothes of his got bloody, isn't it? Come on, admit it.
No, my brother was wounded by a bullet after he killed Inspector Long. That's how his clothes got bloody.
Yeah, I suppose he was invisible when he killed Long, too. That's why nobody saw him, huh?
Yes. Don't you understand? He's discovered how to render his body tissues transparent. He's hiding down in the cellar now, invisible.
He's nutty as a fruitcake.
Shut up, Bill. Ordway, your brother is down in the cellar now.
Yes, he is. He fainted, and I carried him down there.
And just which room is he in?
The little storage room at the foot of the stairs, the one at the metal door.
How about it, boys? Did you look there?
Sure we did, Captain. We looked in there twice. There ain't a thing in that room but a little excelsior.
Right, we both looked. That room is as empty as a busted piggy bank.
You see, Mr. Ordway, if he'd been there, my men would have found him.
But he's there. They didn't see him because he took the serum. He made himself invisible.
All right, Mr. Ordway. Just calm yourself. Now, listen, my men say the room is empty.
Yeah, except maybe for rats. We heard a couple stirring in the excelsior, so we bolted the door after we looked in. Figured we might as well keep the rats inside.
You bolted the door? No, you mustn't. Captain, we've got to let John out. If he's not let out, he'll die.
I've made plenty of whacks, but this is a new one.
Yep, he's got it bad.
Ordway, I'm afraid you'll have to come with us. Now, will you come quietly or I have to put the handcuffs on?
No, you can't take me away. I have to let John out of that room. If he doesn't get an injection of the neutralizing serum inside 24 hours, he'll die.
Sorry, Mr. Ordway, but come on, boys. Give me a hand. Got to get into the psychopathic
No,
fast.
no, you've got to believe me. You've got to let go of me. No, no, no. That's the whole story, Doctor. They wouldn't believe us. They brought me here to the hospital charged with John's murder. Though I kept trying to tell them he was alive, they gave me a narcotic. But he is alive. He's locked in that room in the cellar. And if he isn't let out soon, he'll die. 24 hours is the limit, but there's still time to get to him.
Yes, I understand, Mr. Ordway. I'll see to it that he's released at once.
You mean it, Doctor? You believe me?
Yes, of course. Attendant.
Call me, Doctor?
Yes, go get my car ready, will you? We're going to Mr. Ordway's home at once to release his brother.
Yes, sir. Right away, Doctor.
Oh, thank heaven you believe me, Doctor. You'll be in time to save John. You'll find the serum he'll need to bring it back to normal in the green bottle in the laboratory.
I'll take care of him. Now, you go back to sleep now, Mr. Ordway.
Yes, I will. I can sleep now. I can sleep.
How is he now, Doctor?
Yeah, he's quiet now. He'll be all right.
You know, Doctor, sometimes I can't help thinking.
Yes, Jensen?
You know, he's locked up here at State Hospital for bumping off his brother. Eventually, they found his brother's dead body locked in a little room in the cellar. But I can't help wondering what the cops would have found if anybody had taken Mr. Ordway serious that night he was brought here 10 years ago.
This is the mysterious traveler. So John could make himself invisible, could he? But unfortunately, he did too good a job of it. For he hasn't been seen around for a long, long time. That's the trouble with having unusual powers. Sometimes they get you into unusual difficulties. Speaking of difficulties, Oh, you'll have to get off here. I'm sorry. But I'm sure we'll meet again. I take this same train every week at the same time.
You have just heard The Mysterious Traveler, a series of dramas of the strange and terrifying. All characters in tonight's story were fictitious, and any resemblance to the names of actual persons was purely coincidental. In tonight's cast were Maurice Topman, Wendell Holmes, Roger DeCoven, Art Carney, and Richard Coogan.
Strange Wills. Starring the distinguished Hollywood actor Warren Williams, and featuring Peggy Weber and William Conrad, with Howard Culver and an all-star Hollywood cast. Original music by Del Castillo.
Dead men's wills are often strange. We cannot attempt to understand them or try to find the answers. We can but tell the story.
This is Warren Williams bringing you the story Crosswind. But first...
And now back to Warren Williams as John Francis O'Connell in Crosswind.
This story opens in a state prison where Patrick Malone is awaiting execution by hanging. His crime-studied career was finally terminated by the police, and after a fair and impartial trial, he was sentenced to death for murder. After all of his appeals had been denied, Malone was transferred to the state prison to await his execution. It is shortly after midnight. The guards in the main cell block are making their round.
Guard! Guard! Who's calling the guard? Who's calling? Oh, so it's you, Killer Malone. I thought you was a tough guy. I'm tired. You're ahead of schedule, Killer. That comes later. Oh, the sawbones. I'm tired. I'll come in and take a look and see first, Killer. But if you've got any funny ideas, remember there's 3 doors you got to open before you reach the wall. You won't mind if I lock myself in, will you, Killer? That'll make 4 doors. Sawbones. Get the sawbones. I'm not going to wait the sawbones until I know you need them. Now, what's your beef? Water. Get me a drink. Forehead's cold enough. Maybe it's your conscience, Killer. Maybe you're seeing ghosts in the night. Ghosts of those guys you bumped. Okay. I'll get you a drink. If you're still sick after this drink, tell the guard on the next relief. He'll be on in 7 minutes. Here. Sit up and drink this. Okay, sucker. You fell for it. You feel this rod press against your belly. Yeah, I feel it, Killer. What you gonna do? I'm gonna bump you off if you so much as peek. Don't be a fool. There's 4 locked doors, steel doors. You'll never make it. I'm going out of here tonight. Feet first to walking, but I'm going out. Now turn around, mister. Quiet like. All right, take off your clothes. That monkey suit. Okay? It's your funeral. Just shut up and give me the clothes. Here's my cap. My coat? Want my pants, too? I want everything. Yeah. Here they are. Now just stand still and keep your mitts up while I get into them. How soon before the relief guard comes? 4 minutes. You haven't got a chance, killer. Yeah? Well, that's my worry. Now, here's a little kiss to knock you out. Listen. I'll tuck you into my little bundle bed. Okay, boys. Give me cover.
Fire, you monster! I'll turn on the fire hose!
Killer Malone must be captured. So said the governor. So said the mayor. So said the district attorney and the chief of police. A dragnet was thrown over the entire state. Every policeman was ordered back to report to his precinct. Killer Malone must be captured. His escape was the general topic of conversation. Even the young and beautiful Margaret Levering, my client, and I were talking about it in my office.
Really, I've never been so frightened, John. I imagine I see that Killer Malone behind every tree, even under my bed.
With 10,000 policemen looking for him, it won't be long before they get him. But you won't be here to see the excitement.
That's right. I'm sailing tonight.
You don't look very happy about leaving, Margaret.
Frankly, the thought of a trip to South America on a tramp steamer bores me silly. And I did so want to attend opening night at the opera. Why did Father have to make such a silly provision in his will?
I can see his reasoning. If you're to inherit his steamship interest, I think it only right that you get some first-hand information about traveling on a freighter.
Would have been much more fun on a luxury liner.
Yes, I realize that, but this way you sort of get the feel of the business. You see how cargo is shipped, how it's unloaded.
How dull. And that crew, I can see them now, the captain squirting tobacco juice in the sea.
Ah, that's where you're wrong, Margaret. Captain Leslie DeHaven is handsome enough to be in the movies.
Yeah? Well, that's something. Maybe I won't be so bored after all.
I'm sure you'll enjoy every minute of your trip. Now then, I'll see you off at, what time does the Olympic sail?
They told me at midnight.
All right, then. I'll be there to see you off. It must be nice to know that after one cruise to South America, you'll inherit a steamship line with a face value of $1 million.
But a girl doesn't have to go through to inherit a measly million these days.
I wouldn't consider $1 million so measly.
That's because you never had to buy gowns and shoes for a lady.
Oh, well, maybe you're right at that. What's more, I guess I'll never have to.
Spoken like a true bachelor. Well, I suppose if I'm to catch the Olympic at midnight, I'd better go home and get ready for the ordeal. And, John.
Yes, Margaret?
Wish me excitement. Lots of excitement.
I wish.
Yeah, what a break. Fog as thick as pea soup. Now, if I can only stow away on one of these tubs. Hey, cops. Okay, coppers, come and get me. Hey, what's this? Piano crates. SS Olympic. Destination Rio de Janeiro. Move over, Piano. You've got company.
At about 11 o'clock, I arrived at the docks to see my client off. The night was heavy, full of fog. As I parked my car, I heard a great commotion coming from the direction of the pier. I walked slowly down the long wooden ramp. What was going on? Had they found Killer Malone here on the docks? Each step I advanced, the excitement became more pronounced. Oh, I'm sorry. It's all right. Heavy fog. Hurt you?
Well, for heaven's sake, if I haven't run smack into the Honorable John Francis O'Connell.
Commissioner Holbrook. Well, this beats all. What are you up to? Running around here bumping into honest citizens.
Oh, we got a tip that Killer Malone might be down here on the docks.
Killer Malone? Down here?
That's one of the 10,000 tips we've had since he escaped. Personally, I don't put much stock in it.
No? Why not?
Well, there's no place to hide out down here. And if he ever got on one of these boats, they'd nab him quick.
Do you think, Commissioner, that it'll be safe for me to go aboard and say goodbye to a client of mine?
Safe enough. That is, if you don't get in the way of Killer Malone.
And if I do, then what?
Don't stop to ask questions. Just run like the very devil.
Excuse me, mister. We got to load these beyond a crate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. We don't want any accidents.
No, thanks.
Okay, take her away.
Well, I'll be moving along.
I hope you get your man, Commissioner. And if I should run into him on board the Olympic...
what'll you do, John?
What'll I do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, Miss Levering, I promise that my new boss will be extended every courtesy of the ship. In fact, it'll be a pleasure to attend to it personally.
I hope I'm forgiven for thinking you some decrepit old sea dog who spits tobacco juice all over his chin.
I tried to tell Margaret that you were quite a handsome fella, Captain.
Oh, well, now.
Captain, don't be so modest. I'm sure that my trip's going to be quite delightful. Perhaps even exciting.
I can't promise you much in the way of excitement, Miss Levering. In fact, these South American cruises are mostly routine.
But there's a moon, isn't there?
Hey, now, you let me handle my own romancing. And don't be giving the captain any suggestions.
Yeah, there is a moon, all right. And there's a beauty. If you like scenery, we have a lot of that, too. Strange places, foreign ports, tropics.
Well, I see it's 1 minute to midnight. Time to shove off, isn't it, Captain?
Yes, we're all loaded and ready to go.
Well, then, goodbye, Margaret, and happy sailing.
Goodbye, John.
Oh, by the way, Captain.
Yes, Mr. O'Connell.
There's a possibility, a very remote one, of course, that you might have a notorious passenger aboard.
Yes, I'd heard about it. You mean this Killer Malone?
The one and only.
I'm afraid he'd have a pretty hard time. There aren't very many places to hide aboard ship. He'd find it rather rough to walk through customs at the ports we touched. No, I'd have better sense.
Now, that's what I think, too. I only mentioned it because just before I came aboard, I met my old friend, Commissioner Holbrook, on the dock. The place is literally covered with police, you know. Well, I guess I'll have to run for it now.
Goodbye, sir. Don't worry about Miss Levering. I'll bring her back brown as a berry.
Goodbye again, John. And don't worry. I know I'm going to have a wonderful time. A simply wonderful time.
2 days out of Frisco, Margaret sent me her first cable. It contained only one word, but that was enough. It simply said, super. Well, my client was apparently enjoying herself.
Now you know, Margaret, why men will always go down to sea in ships.
And to think I almost missed seeing it. Oh, Leslie, it's so wonderful. The moon makes things almost as bright as day.
And look at the stars. They look almost as big as lanterns. And close enough to pick.
Perhaps that's what Father had in mind when he insisted that I take a sea voyage before inheriting his steamship line.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He was a great man, Margaret. Your father sailed with me many times. He loved the sea. This was his favorite trip.
But, Leslie, honestly, wouldn't you prefer being in command of a luxury liner, having beautiful girls coming up on the bridge to idolize you?
Oh, not for me. No, Margaret, give me the sweep of the tropical breeze. Give me a good stout ship filled with cargo for foreign ports and places. The crew of men that are rough and ready.
You are romantic, aren't you? But I haven't heard you mention just one thing that makes the picture complete.
Well, there's something on.
Maybe.
It couldn't be you, could it?
Could be, Leslie. Could be.
Act 2 of Crosswinds, written by Ken Crepine and directed by Robert Webster Light, in just a moment. But first, a brief message from your announcer. And now back to Crosswinds, starring Warren William as John Francis O'Connell.
6 days out of San Francisco, I received another cablegram from Margaret Lieberman. This one was even more cryptic. It said, playing for keeps. I began to think that I'd stop it.
Margaret, you'd better get to bed early tonight and get some rest. That is, of course, if you still want to see the island in the morning.
What time was that, Sir Blazer?
Around 5.
Oh, goodness, that is early.
Well, don't get up unless you want.
Oh, I do want to. It's our first sight of land since we left.
Well, it's a beautiful tropical island. You go close enough to get a good look. There's only one thing wrong with it.
We're going to land?
No, it's forbidden.
Forbidden? Why, Leslie?
Well, I'll tell you all about it tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. That is, if you're not too sleepy.
I won't be, a promise. I may never see this mysterious island again as long as I live.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I make this trip regularly.
Why, Captain, how you interest me.
Shut up.
Who are you?
Who cares? I'm here. Isn't that enough?
Get out. Get out the instrument, close, Captain.
Tough, huh?
What do you want?
First, something to eat. What is it?
There's some crackers and cheese.
Where?
There on the dresser. Wait. Slip on my robe and...
Just stay where you are, sister. Where's the light?
There's a little lamp on the dresser.
Okay. You recognize me, do you?
Come on.
Yeah, Keller Malone at your service.
You did make the ship.
Came aboard in a piano crate.
You
Can't get off, huh? What makes you think so?
Yeah, that's customs, please.
Don't worry about that, sister. I've done all right so far. Broke out of prison, didn't I? Got aboard this tub, didn't I? I'm not caught yet.
What do you want?
Well, I'm going to eat these crackers and ask a few questions. If you don't mind.
No, not honest, no. What do you want to know?
First off, what's your next port?
Rio. We arrive there tomorrow night.
Rio, huh?
Then we go south, all down along the coast.
I see.
What have you in mind, Mr. Malone?
Keeping away from the law, mostly. Say, you ain't bad looking.
You think so?
Too bad we can't be seeing more of each other.
I'm afraid that would be rather difficult, Mr. Malone. See, we're like crosswinds, each blowing a different way, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right, lady. Crosswinds. Say, what time is it?
Oh, it's 5 minutes to 5.
What are you so nervous about, sister? Expecting company? I'd hate to think of some guy coming in and disturbing us.
But if someone did, what would you do?
What'd you expect me to do? Kiss him? Listen, sister, you're safe as long as I'm safe. It's going to be up to you to keep everything peaceful like until I can get off this tub.
Until you get off, Mr. Moore?
That's the ticket.
Supposing I helped you to get off. Supposing I helped you get to an island.
An island, huh? You want to maroon me so that I can be picked up later? Is that your game, sister?
No, good heavens, no.
Well, why don't you tell me about it, then?
Oh, this island, we're due there in just a few minutes. It's a beautiful island. Our ship comes within easy swimming distance.
What's on the island?
Well, that's the best part of it. Just gunboats. A few natives, I suppose. Fishing boats. Well, lots of fishing boats. And no policemen, not even one.
What am I supposed to do?
Well, you could swim to the island. After you're there, you could hire one of those fishermen, and they could take you to some place on the mainland where no one would ever catch you.
It'd be free, huh? Free the rest of my life. Say, you catch quick, all right. When did you say we'd reach this island?
Any minute.
Wait, let me open this porthole and have a better look. Hey, you're right, I see it.
That's what I've been telling you. You'll go, won't you, Mr. Malone?
Nope, it's no deal. I think I'll stick around here for a few more days. I'll wait for something else to turn up.
You mean you aren't going?
Why should I? You can be sick for a couple of days. Listen, baby, I'll hide in this closet, but remember, I got the barrel of this gun pointed right at you.
I'll remember.
Margaret? Margaret, are you awake? Well, answer him. Tell him you're sick.
I'm awake, Captain. But I'm not feeling well.
Not feeling well? What's the matter? Yeah, I come in?
No, don't come in, Captain. I'm sure I'll feel better tomorrow.
Well, we're passing the island now. I thought you wanted to see it. And the story, don't you want to hear it?
Don't bother. Tell it to me later. After we get to Rio.
To Rio? Rio? Say, what is this? You must be sick. I'm coming in no matter what you say.
No, please don't.
Open that door for him. Remember.
Don't.
Open the door.
Just a minute, Captain. I'll let you in.
Margaret, what in heaven's name is wrong? What? You're trembling.
I'm trembling. It's just cold in here.
Here you are down in the tropics, and you say you're cold. Here, come on over here and sit down. I want to see if you're getting malaria. You certainly have the symptoms.
I haven't any malaria, Leslie. There's nothing wrong with me. I'll go. I'll see you later, huh?
I won't leave this cabin until you tell me the truth. I'll take over from here, Captain.
Leslie, don't move. Let's Killer Malone.
Killer Malone? Yeah, the one and only. Now back into the corner, both of you. And, Captain, the lady knows I ain't fooling. You may have her frightened, but not me, Malone. Oh, no? No. What makes you so sure I won't feed you some hot lead? Because guns make noise. Yeah, maybe you're right, wise guy. I'm going to bop you over the head nice and easy like. And I'm heading for that island. Well, it sounds swell, Malone, but first you've got to get me.
Oh, Leslie, no, he'll kill you.
Okay, mister. That was a lucky punch. See how this feels.
Well,
So long, Crosswind. Thanks for the tip about that island. I'm going for a swim.
Man overboard! Man overboard!
In just a moment, you will hear the startling climax of this amazing story. But first, here is a brief message from your announcer. now, back to Warren William as John Francis O'Connell in Crosswind.
For the second time in less than a week, Killer Malone made good his escape. As he swam to the island, he looked back over his shoulder and saw the tramp steamer Olympic fading into the distance. No effort was being made to stop his bold attempt to freedom. Finally, his feet touched bottom. He stood up and began wading to shore.
I made it. Now to get a boat and head for the mainland. It's funny, I don't see none. I wonder if that Crosswind came. Yeah, I see people. Lots of people. Say everything's going to be okay. Hey, you! What's the matter with that mug? Keep motioning me to keep away. Hey, you! What's the matter? What you running for? Come back here! Come back or I'll bust your teeth in!
Back on board the Olympic, Margaret was desperately trying to revive Captain DeHaven after Killer Malone had knocked him unconscious in her cabin.
Oh, Leslie, darling, wake up. Wake up. Darling. Can you hear me? Killer Malone's escaped. He's swimming to the island.
Oh, my head.
Leslie could have killed you.
Margaret, but where's...
That's what I'm trying to tell you, darling. He jumped off the boat. He's swimming to the island. Leslie, isn't there something we can do? Killer Malone will get away unless we stop him.
You say he swam to that island?
Yes, Leslie's there by now. He'll get a boat and escape to the mainland. We've got to do something quick.
Take it easy, Margaret. There's no hurry.
All right.
That's exactly what I want him to do. Swim for that island.
Really?
Do you remember my telling you there was only one thing wrong with that island?
What? What's the island?
Remember I told you ships were forbidden to dock there? All ships.
Yes, you did, Leslie. Why? Why?
That island, Margaret, has been a leper colony for over 50 years.
Well, Killer Malone made it safely to the island, all right. But instead of finding the fishing boats and the freedom he'd expected, he found himself right in the middle of a leper colony, totally cut off from the rest of the world. I'm sure that many times before he finally died, that he wished he had never escaped from the death cell at State's Prison. And as for Margaret, well, she came to the very sensible conclusion that she couldn't run a steamship line all by herself. So what do you think she did? She signed on a first mate for life. She and Captain Leslie were married the day after their ship docked at Rio. Next week, I'm going to tell you a story of the theater and Broadway. A young and beautiful girl was left an enormous fortune with the provision that she work and earn her own living for a whole year before she inherited her estate. Now, this young lady had always had a yen for the theater, and she became a chorus girl. But that was just the beginning. For the delightfully entertaining story of Backstage Broadway, listen to Dance Director. This is Warren William inviting you to be with us again next week.
Strange Wills is a Teloways feature produced in Hollywood. Names, places, and events have all been changed so that no reflection can fall on any person or persons, living or dead.